Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods back in studio after a whiz banger of a week out at Peoria, Arizona. I need my wife to stop talking about Love is Blind in the chat. We got Paulie's distracted already in there.
Not distracted.
Just stay. We're trying to keep focused in here. And the entire, all of our listeners.
I don't want to read a spoiler alert.
I get it, but all of our
3 new episodes.
All of our audience is now responding about Love is Blind. I want them focused on us, okay? The narcissists that we are. I need your attention here, all right? I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. MV Paul is what I'm going to call him this morning. Absolutely saved our old crotchety asses yesterday. We'll get to that story in a moment. Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. And what a morning yesterday it was, and really what a trip. All around. One of our best weeks out at spring training. I'm very proud of these guys here and the work they did. I want to thank both of you for stepping up at the last part of the show.
Are you okay? That's my first question this morning.
I feel
you weren't
much better.
Great on the drive home.
And I really thought once we get in the car and if I lie down a little bit, I'll feel fine. And you guys know, I never really felt great the entire trip home. This is how you know I was sick. I skipped lunch. Yeah. I passed a meal.
We stopped for lunch in Yuma, and you just laid in the car while Paulie and I went in and had lunch.
You guys
went bad. You
guys went and sucked down Raising Cane's.
So good.
That was good. I've never done the full Raising Cane's experience, and I enjoyed it.
Here was the problem. Every time we were driving, and Ben was a lot more chipper on the drive back than he was on the drive when I was driving. But so they were talking. Every time they talked, though, it seemingly was about food. And so I was in the back seat, green around the gills, laying there going, please shut up. Please stop talking about food. I had put Crimson Tide on, the movie with Denzel and Gene Hackman. I was like, all I'm hearing is that Ben was like, ooh, cheesecake. And I'm like, I can't hear food. So we pull up.
Weps. I need Weps.
So we pull up to Raising Cane's in Yuma, and
we narrowed it down to 3 different spots.
Yeah.
And it was, all right, whatever the first, we went and got gas in Yuma. And all right, the most convenient first restaurant that we drive by, that's where we're going, and it happened to be Raising Cane's.
So you guys went in. I laid in the back seat, and you guys were only in. I said, take your time. I was not being a jerk about it. I said, take your time. I just don't feel good, man. And the laying in the back, was a little bumpy, so I was just like, all right, man, just get through this. I grabbed a Sprite at a gas station, sipped on that a little bit. Even that didn't help. And I just felt like ass, man, the whole drive back. And then y'all got in the car.
As a parent, you're not supposed to leave people in the back seat. That's dangerous, on a hot day in Arizona.
We left the car running.
I was worried about you back there. Uh-oh.
I was fine, man. I laid back there and was just like, I just want to get home, but these guys need to eat. I wasn't being a jerk about it at all. I said, take your time. I'm in no rush. But when you got back in the car, the stank of Raising Cane's was on you, and I just sat in the back. I pulled my thing up over my nose. I was like, I don't want to throw up in this beautiful expedition that was loaned to us by our friends at Sedano Ford. That was the thing I was really worried about, is vomiting in the back of a loaner car. And so
we did have 2 stops before we even got to Yuma to let you out.
You had to pee.
Relieve yourself.
It was bad, man.
You couldn't even make it to Gila Bend on the first stop.
I had to pee on the side of the road
and
twice.
then we were 10 minutes away from Yuma, and you
I was
couldn't make it to Yuma either.
I was holding it, and I'm like,
Paulie, I got to go pee-pee. Can you make it 15 minutes?
I can't, dude. I was holding it. I was in the backseat holding it, all right? So I don't know what it was. Let me dispel, though, any rumors and people in the DMs and whatever. I was not hungover. I don't F around on business. In fact, I think these guys will be the first to tell you, Woods got absolutely housed at dinner
with Mike Schilt.
With Mike Schilt, and he acted a fool, and then he blew it. These two.
We presented the option, we were waiting for Schilt to get there.
Yep.
We were probably sitting there for about 5 minutes in the booth, and we go, hey, what if we just have a great time? And he goes, hey, you guys want to take it over to the moon and just shut that place down tonight?
Yeah, you presented that to me.
Me and Ben were both like, hell
we got to do that. If the manager wants to go out after dinner, you got to go with him.
What did I say?
And what's his
not
name?
a chance.
I'm going back
I
to
will
the
Uber
Airbnb.
back to the Airbnb.
I said absolutely not. And why, man? If the manager wants to go shut down the moon, we just suck it up tomorrow. And I go,
you don't turn that opportunity down.
I said tomorrow's too big. I said, tomorrow's too big of a day. And I
we
know
were all very good boys on a work day. Even the skipper was
had water.
Well behaved. Yeah.
I had Sprite and water. Paulie had Diet Coke
I had
and
hot
water,
tea.
and Ben had hot tea. So I was not hungover. I think the sun really got to me. I think it really did. It really was roasting me and making me uncomfortable. And I drink a ton of water. I mean, I drink of my 64-ounce thing. I drink 2 or 3 of these bad boys a day. I was pounding water out in zone. I was pounding water at night. I didn't have one solitary drop of alcohol.
My
not
theory
one.
is that you can't drink any more than you already drink. So when you get to Arizona and it starts sapping you, you're already at max. I can always up it a little bit more if I need to because I don't drink as much water as you do every day.
It's really strange. So I was not hungover. I would never do that. I take this too seriously, and I really take the day that we had yesterday. That was the thing, is like I wanted to be sharp yesterday because I knew it had the potential to be a really, really big day. We had some big name guests on. And listen, man, the way I look at it is we'll have opportunities to go out and grab a beer with Mike Schilt another time. And I honestly, had he said, let's go rage at the moon, I would have said, you guys go ahead, man. I gotta go back to the room. I have to get rest. My first host in radio beat it into me. Not physically, but mentally has me so domed out that I must get rest to be able to do this job at a decently high level that I've never been able to get out of my head. And I guess it's a good thing at the end of the day.
No one on this show is going to suggest that nightly or even weekly we go out and blow it out. Before I'm the last person who's ever even going to think of doing that. I just simply said in the very unusual circumstance of maybe with the manager of the San Diego Padres wants to go hang a little bit late, that would be an occasion to break your own rules.
And see, I think it's a kind of a cool move to say, no thanks, Mike. We're all about business, and we've got a big show tomorrow.
Well,
and I think he would understand that.
If you were one of his players, I think that would be
I think he would understand that.
I wouldn't want to offend him or something. Be like, what, are they not having fun?
No, we're having a great time. We got work. And
but
he
did too, and
he did too.
It didn't happen.
Up early yesterday.
Yeah, it didn't happen. It was awesome. We did hear later though that he likes a martini, and had he ordered a martini, I bet Ben would have ordered a martini, and I probably still would have gotten Sprite, and Paulie probably still would have gotten Diet Coke. But Paulie, thank you so much for driving us yesterday. I did want to thank you. Now, there's 2 reasons why I was legitimately sick. I like to drive. I always drive. I've driven us to and fro fantasy camp and spring training every year. And I never am like, hey, can you take a shift? Ever. So when we got done with the show and I was loading stuff in the car, I was like, I don't think I can make it, man. So I laid down in the back. Paulie drove. Now, what I didn't realize, so I wake up and I look at my phone. I click on the Ben and Woods Instagram. Now, what I didn't realize, so I wake up.
What was that?
So I wake up and I look at the Instagram story and I see like a flash of brown and I'm wearing a brown hoodie. I go, oh, he got me. And he deserves to get me because I did fall asleep in the back. What I didn't realize is you, Ben, had also fallen asleep in the front. I laughed. There's me. I am dead to the world. And then there's Ben like, It looks like Paulie is transporting 2 85-year-old men to the nursing home. It's what it looks like. We look like we are 100 years old, dude. I was laughing. I laughed so hard. Ben is in the front.
Alex says slumped. I think that is an accurate description of how I look. Slumped.
The mouth open like, I'm in the back just,
I mean, so if you've ever made that drive from Phoenix to San Diego, you know that Peoria to the 85 is about 20 minutes. It's like 15 miles. And we were still on the 10 when Woods fell asleep. We were still in the Phoenix area. We had just gotten in the car, and Woodsy was out. And then we made it to... Ben made it...
To Gila Bend.
The Gila Bend. The Gila Bend to Yuma stretches when Ben fell asleep. Woods was snoring in the background.
Snoring back.
I'm just sitting there cruising. I look over. I'm like... Oh, God, what is happening right now?
I mean, we worked very hard, but I can't... I mean, Paulie obviously worked the hardest of all of us.
Right.
But he's a younger man.
He's younger.
And maybe has just a little more stamina than the two of us late 40-year-olds have at this point.
Bro, I watched... How many times did I watch that video on the drive home? 50? They would be driving, and they would just hear me go...
I just keep hearing...
I was laughing so hard, man.
Is he watching it again? I mean, he's so easily entertained back there. It's a video of him sleeping.
It was us. I couldn't get the mental image of van driver Paulie driving us back to the home. And I kept thinking about, like, all right, come on, buddy, let's go.
Wake up, Mr. Grumpy Pants.
Back up to your room. I was crying laughing. I mean, it was one of the funniest things ever.
You got to be up early tomorrow for water aerobics, Woods, so, you know.
That shuffleboard's not going to play itself.
Then we started laughing about ex-radio people's old folks home, filled with all the old morons in this business, and all of us just shuffling around, thinking we're so great, thinking we're so smart, thinking that our baseball takes somehow are the right ones, and we're all 85 years old, still hate each other, still fighting, still stealing stuff from each other. I mean, we were crying, dude. It was such a great trip. It's always fun to go with my brothers out to Peoria and sit down and meet and talk to these guys. And I'll tell you, look, cheerleader, flagship, whatever, there is not one person on this roster that I am not rooting for intensely. They were all phenomenal. Phenomenal.
We talked about it, I think, on the drive home. We don't need to name names, but there have been guys that have been on this team over the years that we just didn't like. They didn't like us. We didn't like them. We never talked to them.
They felt standoffish a little bit. And better than. And I'll tell you,
not a single guy in that clubhouse this year.
If you read through the lines, if you read between the lines, read the tea leaves, I don't know how many more wins it'll translate to, guys. We've lost a lot of talent on this team, certainly. I'm rooting hard for these guys, and it's based on the conversations that we had with them. It's based on watching their interactions with each other from afar. It's based on eavesdropping on their conversations in their hitting groups and in their fielding groups and in their base running groups. It's based on all of that. And I know we fed you this stuff before. I fed it to you with Jace Tingler, how great he ran a camp. I was excited about it. And look, man, they made the playoffs. It was a weird season, certainly, but I've been really impressed with what I've seen so far. Again, to qualify it, doesn't mean a thing right now, not one thing. But for us to get a chance to talk to Sugar, to talk to Profar, those were the guys that we had missed the last couple of years. And Brett Sullivan. I mean, just the guys that aren't the $100 million, $300 million guys.
I got a good day yesterday.
Yeah,
How about
he sure
that?
did,
We can talk
man.
about that coming up.
I was
this
talking
morning.
to somebody within the team about Sugar. I said, we had him on, was it Monday? And I'm like, he was phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
He's a listener favorite now.
Already.
It was our first time talking to him, and the guy goes, oh, he is beloved in the clubhouse.
In that clubhouse, man.
He is a huge glue guy in the clubhouse. I go, I believe it now.
I believe it too, dude. I believe it too. Those are
That's a guy you want to root for.
Those are guys I want to root for to a man. Every single one of them, man. A lot of personality. They all really said the right things. They're all really focused. Again, don't know if they're going to win, more than 70 games. I don't know. I wish I did, and I'd tell you to keep the faith. And I'm going to tell you to keep the faith because these guys are a lot of fun, man. They really are, and it's going to be a fun team to root for.
Yeah, having a good clubhouse is one element of a good season. You also have to have, enough pitching to last through the course of a season. You can have the greatest clubhouse on earth. If you run out of pitching, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
That's exactly
so,
right.
There are other questions that still need to be answered for the San Diego Padres.
Well, and like the skipper told us, it's my job to get the most out of the guys I have. And I told him a quote that my son, Bo, introduced to me that he learned in preschool. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit. He laughed. He goes, wisdom from that young man. And I said, bro, I've been using it for a while now. I thought that's one of the best quotes I've ever had. And he goes, yeah, that's pretty much how I am right now. I'm going to get what I get, and I'm not going to throw a fit. I'm going to do my best to get the most out of them. So it was a great trip. Thank you guys for being here and all your support, all your kind words. We really feel that too. And it really motivates us to want to go out and crush it. So
now the challenge is we got to finish this week strong because it's 2 more days left. It felt like a Friday yesterday.
It really
we even did a manager's interview like it was Friday.
That's the first thing I learned from this year's trip is we went Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to go for 3 days next year, 4 days. Hell, I don't know if we're going to go out for a week, but I do know if it's a 3-day trip, it's going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
There's no question.
Because I got home last night. I was so cashed.
I was
I'm like,
gassed.
oh wait, we still have another
Man,
show.
This is where the discipline comes in.
No
these
doubt.
next couple of days. So let's gear up and let's try to do a good 4 hours this morning.
We will. We'll need you guys this morning too. Want to get your calls and
I'd
stuff.
like that,
and,
yeah.
and you know, let's be in this one together today.
All right, we'll hand out the menus, get you ready for what's coming up this morning when we come back. First time out of the morning, we'll check traffic with Kelly and then be right back in studio. It is Ben and Woods on our spring training week, continuing here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So as you know, next month we will celebrate 6 years together as a morning show. Ben and Woods and Paul all together since March of 2018. Correct,
March
Paulie?
27th.
Attaboy.
That was our first ever show.
Wow.
But this is only the second time we've ever been together on February 29th as a show. Happy Leap Day, everybody. We had a 2020 Leap Day and now 2024 Leap Day. Only comes once every 4 years. This is the extra day. And we talked about it a little bit yesterday. I am firmly in the camp that Leap Day should be a holiday, a national holiday for everyone to take off. Once every 4 years, an absolute, it should be a blowout holiday.
Yeah.
A party, one of those holidays that you look forward to and you don't dread. It doesn't have the recriminations. It's simply a day for everybody to enjoy. There's no remembrance. There's no sad part of it. It's not like Memorial Day or not Labor Day. It's not honoring anyone. It's just a day for everybody to let loose, have a great time, and then get back to it on March 1st because it's an extra day that doesn't even really belong in the calendar the way that we have set it up. And honestly, I don't know that anyone disagrees with that take. Would anyone be mad about February 29th, once every 4 years being a holiday?
I'm never going to complain about an extra day off.
Here's the problem. We always think about it like February 27th every 4 years. Oh, that would be a great idea. And then once March 1st rolls around tomorrow, and it's 4 years away, no one has the drive to, we got to do something about this for, in 4 years' time. We'll forget about it. And then in 2028, it'll roll around again, and we'll all go, why didn't we make this day a holiday? Well, you forgot about it. So really, I think we should start tomorrow, March 1st, the drive to turn February 29th, 2028 into a massive, raging, let's have fun holiday that everyone just has a really good time on.
Some people are working for free today.
Everyone's working for free.
Salaried.
Well,
if you're salaried.
No,
This is
if
an
you're
extra day.
hourly,
I guess if you're hourly,
you get
it's
paid.
hours or hours, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
But yeah, if you're a salaried, yearly employee, you have just given your employer an extra day of work for nothing today.
On the house.
Nothing.
You're welcome, Adam.
Yeah, you're welcome, Odyssey. Again.
A 366th day that didn't exist the last 3 years we were working here, but today it does exist.
Yeah, extra 4 hours for you guys. Here you go, on the house.
Let's get our agent on the phone.
Yeah, get him on the phone. Put it in our contract. We could have taken the day off, but would have made sense, but I didn't want to. It's good to be back.
We had a lot of momentum.
We
from the
did.
week.
Yeah, I like to be back in studio.
I love being back in the studio.
I do too. I love being at spring training, but I really love being back in the studio.
If we could pick this up and take it with us.
Yeah,
Ooh,
100%.
The remote
studio
setup.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I am.
Just having the guys rolling through still,
Yeah, be great.
but in a nice little
Like
studio.
in an RV, we just pull it into the back there.
be
And the
awesome.
studio's already set up. We just walk in the morning. It's all ready to
Don't
go.
give me too many ideas for next year.
Yes.
We took a Sedano Ford Expedition this year. If we can get an RV, I'll build a freaking studio.
Well,
for
they'll let
3
us
days.
do it. We'll just have to pay for it. So you guys know that. But yeah, I'm with your idea. Today would have been nice to sleep in. But.
All right, we'll discuss a little bit. We were listening a little bit to the game as we drove back, but it was a fun one for the Padres yesterday in Chicago. There was some rumors that were popping up around Major League Baseball yesterday as well, so we'll get to those coming up in our next segment. We got our regular features now. It is a Throwback Thursday, which means we'll play some real or fake. Last day of the month, trying to qualify someone for a trip to Las Vegas. We'll honor a comedian. You guys huge Curb Your Enthusiasm
Massive.
fans. And
Terrible.
saw that news as we were driving back from Peoria yesterday. So shout out to his family is certainly coming. Don't do this. We will get to Sammy spring training in the second half of the show. It was fun to be with Sammy the last couple
Loved
of
it.
days in person.
What a
Felt like
great
we got to
dude.
know him just a little bit more. There's
Yep.
always new layers to peel back from Sammy as well. But it was fun to have lunch with him and spend a little extra time on the road with Sammy. Tier 1 tour. I think the Cleveland Guardians are supposed to be the team today. We'll give away some more Padres spring training tickets, qualify listeners for the flyaway trip to Peoria, Arizona, last couple of days to do that as well. So hopefully it'll be a good Thursday show here on Ben and Woods on this Leap Day that no one should have to be working, but we haven't got that official yet, so you probably do have to work because technically it's just a regular Thursday for everybody today.
We just call it Thursday.
Just Thursday.
Just Thursday.
All right, let's take a time out. We'll get started. We've always kind of joked that there's kind of a Ben and Woods curse.
Yeah.
We talk to a player, they have a bad game that night, whatever,
There are exceptions.
There's
There have been
exceptions.
some exceptions.
We spoke to Joe Musgrove on a Thursday.
He had a no-hitter.
And on a Friday, he threw a no-hitter.
We
Fair
may
enough.
have used a lot of our karma that day, and maybe we've built up enough that we have some good luck coming our way again, because one of our guests yesterday had a big day yesterday as he fights for a spot on the Padres 26-man roster. We'll get to that coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Competition for the Padres' final 2 spots in the starting rotation heating up a little bit. I think yesterday was a big day. Today will be another critical day coming up at Padres spring training in Peoria, Arizona. It was also a big day for one of our guests yesterday on Ben and Woods. We'll get to that right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your 15-minute instant drive-thru oil change. Good morning. Your leap day is off to a nice, quiet start. We're not showing any problem spots at all. No ladders in lanes. You're full blast out of the North County. Everything looks great out of the East County. And so far, so good. North 5, North 85 out of the South Bay. Valvoline Instant Oil Change is your drive-thru oil change. It only takes 15 minutes, and you don't have to get out of your car. With all the rain lately, Valvoline is also offering replacement wiper blades. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com, SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So if you're with us right out of the chute yesterday, it was Ben and Woods and Paul and Brett was the start of the show. As we opened, Brett Sullivan was sitting down with us, and it was our first opportunity to chat with the Padres catcher, third catcher possibility. He's also been trying out some other positions, both in the Cactus League games and on the backfields, outfield, first base. He's played third base before in his past. When Manny's back, obviously that position's fairly spoken for, but if he does need any time at DH, it's possible that Brett Sullivan is fighting for that last, 25th, 26th spot on the Padres roster. And we had a really good conversation. He was very engaging.
So cool.
Fun to get to know. And at the end, we gave him one of our Ben and Woods shirts. And Woods, I think it was the only guy that you really said it to. You said, I think there's some hits in that shirt.
So there's hits in there.
There's hits in there.
Yeah.
And I thought that's a bold proclamation to give to Brett Sullivan. Well, at the start of the day, you're handing him the shirt, and you're basically saying you're going to have a good day with this shirt.
We gave two people shirts last year. Matt Strom was one of them, and he had that massive save in the NLCS or whatever it was.
Closing game.
And we gave it one to Skip Schumacher, and Skip Schumacher won Manager of the Year. So I told Brett, hey, man, there's hits in there. And he goes, oh, great. So went out. I don't think he was wearing it under his uniform. Not that we would ask him to. Be great if he did. But
don't think Matt Strom was wearing his necessarily when he got that big save either.
Skip wore his all the time.
He did.
All the time. So the logo, sweated off of his. So we had to, did we send him a new one yet, Paulie?
No.
Skip, we need to get him one. He asked for one
right now.
recently. It's medium for him, for sure. You got to show off the lats and the traps and the tries and the buys and all of it.
Send two and have him give one to Gabe Kapler, too.
Would it be amazing? Just send a small. Hey, the small's for Kapler.
We'll talk about Gabe Kapler for a second.
Yeah, Did you see yesterday's Gabe Kapler news?
No, what did I miss?
Oh, there's a story. It was one of those Bob Melvin doing things a little bit differently than Gabe Kapler stories than his predecessor. And there were just some revelations about Kapler was running a very loose ship, which is not always a bad thing. He respected the players and said, "Hey, if you're not in the game, you don't have to be here. You do what you think you need to do." And there was a lot of freedom given to ball players with the San Francisco Giants. And at some point, they just felt like maybe a little too loose of a ship. And the revelation came out that Gabe Kapler, his communication style is an unusual one.
You're going to lose your mind.
He does not like to have, well, first of all, he does not like to have phone conversations with people.
Okay, that's strike one.
He also does not like to have face-to-face conversations with people. He prefers to communicate via text message.
Even
when the person is in the room with them. Say you're both in the clubhouse and you're on, different sides. He'd rather pick up his phone, text you over there 17 feet away, and have you text back rather than walk over and have an actual conversation with the skipper. That was the report, at least.
That's when he was the manager of the Giants, he would text Brandon Crawford 15 feet away, hey, B-Craw, you're in there tonight. Yeah. Okay, Skip,
he
thanks.
could be at a conference table with his coaching staff, and he would text somebody on the other end of the table.
Well, yeah, Brandon says, I feel like you guys talked about a Jock Peterson story about how bad their clubhouse was. Yeah, that was the Pusoy story. It was nothing but Pusoy in the clubhouse at all times. And, as everybody knows, you can't really let Pusoy in the clubhouse. Pusoy is meant for after the game. I wouldn't recommend it before the game. It'll tire you out. You get Pusoy legs. But I think after a game's fine. If you're on a hot streak when you're playing Pusoy, you don't mess with the streak.
But he let them do whatever they want.
He let them do whatever they want.
Whenever they wanted, whenever they wanted. And Bob Melvin has already, not like he was running a famously tight ship here in San Diego, but he's already started making them attend the games at spring training, as Mike Schilt is doing with Padres players.
Hey, guys, I'm going to need you to go to work today. How about that, everybody?
He's also making them line up for the national anthem before the game, just as a statement to the opposing team, like, we're here, we're ready to play. It's just part of Bob's philosophy.
Well, I can promise you this. Skip runs a tight ship. Every time I've talked to Skip Schumacher, he talks about being detail-oriented. And what organization did he come from? The Cardinals organization. Where was Mike Schilt from? The Cardinals organization. The attention to detail is something that is pounded into those guys' heads from the minute they put on a uniform. So that's going to be interesting. And I wonder how far away from the players Skip is keeping Gabe Kapler. Go up to the...
It's not that hard. He's just, you only text them anyway, so he doesn't ever go up and talk to any of them.
I know. I like texting sometimes, and I'm sure I'm Paulie, you can admit it. It's fine. I call Paulie like 2 or 3 times a day. But it's because I like to chat with Paulie, and I feel like we get more accomplished in that medium than we do via text message. Now, I hate calling. It's just a tough. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you running out of a burning building right now? Why do you sound so panicked and like frustrated that I'm calling?
No, I'm just sitting on my couch.
Yeah, I'm just driving to work. I'm like, don't you want to shoot the S a little bit? No. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Yeah. I'm like, all right, Ben. See you later, buddy. See you in the morning. Paulie, I call.
If Ben calls me, I think, somebody
the world
dead,
ended. Somebody died.
Building's on fire.
Yeah, somebody has terminal disease or something for sure. That is weird, man. That is very, very strange. It is. It's pretty standard, man. Like I had a guy DM me yesterday and say, "Well, I think all the Bob Melvin haters sure are justified now after hearing some of the interviews." And guys, that's pretty standard. That's pretty standard. Like in really any business of like, oh, well, the guys that are gone, they were the problem. It's so much better now. We've done the addition by subtraction. It's standard.
It's always easier to blame the person who's not there anymore
100%,
than the one who's still there.
It is. And don't forget, I mean, as bad as last year was, that man took us to the NLCS and beat the Dodgers, and let's not forget that at the end of the day, certainly. And he even admitted last year got away from him, and he made a lot of mistakes. And so I think let's move on and pull for Shilty to get the reins and do it the right way.
Back to Brett Sullivan, though, and we learned that he seems to be one of those guys with a lot of energy in the clubhouse that people gravitate to. Sam Levitt told us.
Well, thank you to Sammy, too, for cluing us in on that, because I'll be honest, I didn't have Brett Sullivan on my list of must-talk-tos. And then when Sammy told us that, I said, "Oh, great! Maybe he's super dynamic and wants to have some fun." And boy, did he ever! Did he ever? He was fantastic.
And we gave him the shirt. You said there's some hits in there, and lo and behold, he gets up in the game yesterday and triples in his first at bat.
So great!
And then hits the go-ahead 2-run home run that turned to be the difference maker in a 3-1 win over the Chicago White Sox in Glendale. So
good for him, man.
A good day for a guy who, as we mentioned with him yesterday, is left-handed, which is a quantity the Padres need fairly badly on this roster, a very right-handed heavy roster. He's the third catcher, which is also valuable in that you can, when you're a team with a designated hitter issue, and we have no idea, I mean, no idea
zero.
If they had a game tomorrow.
Like a real game.
Other than if Manny Machado is still DHing and can't play third. But if you've got Manny at third and, you've got Kim at short, Xander at second, Jake at first, you got your outfield set. I don't know who the designated hitter would be in that game. So when you have a catcher who can hit like Luis Campusano, and you're not expecting more than 110, 115 games out of him behind the plate at most, it would be valuable to have an extra catcher around to allow Campy to perhaps get his offense into the lineup a little bit more on a day-to-day basis as a designated hitter. But you can't really do that if you only have 2 catchers, which makes Brett Sullivan as a third catcher, but also available to play other positions and be in there against right-handers, a very intriguing option. Now, he's got to produce and perform, and yesterday was an incredibly fortuitous, good day for him, showing Mike Schilt what he can do offensively. Good timing for Brett Sullivan. Talking about him, he goes out and has a big game offensively as he's trying to make one of those last roster spots.
Yeah, good for him, man. I love seeing guys perform, and it's really fun when you have them on that morning. They go out and have a big day. But no, I mean, I doubt very much it had anything to do with the shirt or our interview, but I certainly will be happy to take credit for it. Every single time it happens. If it doesn't go well, I don't want the blame. So that's how that works. But
Ethan Salas drove in the other run with a sacrifice fly when he came in late in the game. But I thought it was also a big day in terms of the pitching competition as well. You had your first two guys that went 3 innings for the first time in the Cactus League. Matt Waldron started out 3 very solid innings. Three innings, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts. He has not allowed a run so far this spring when he's been out there. And everyone we've talked to says Matt Waldron looks really good this spring. I mean, good enough to take one of those last 2 spots in the starting rotation. I would not be surprised at this point. If he turns in another good effort or 2, he's making a very good case that he should be out there in the Padres starting rotation. Another guy who a lot of people are saying is looking really good, exceptional control. Bob Scanlon was commenting on it earlier in the spring, is Johnny Brito, who also threw 3 innings yesterday. He gave up 1 run, but his results have been good both in the games and on the mounds at the Peoria Sports Complex. From what everyone is seeing, speaking very highly of Johnny Brito as well. Is it possible that yesterday we saw the 4th and 5th starters for the San Diego Padres in that game against the Chicago White Sox? There's a non-zero chance that we did.
Yeah, very possible that's going to happen, Benny. Also, Steven Wilson had a scoreless frame as well, had a walk, had a K. Homer Bush Jr. Did not get any ABs, but he was absolutely picking it out in center field. He's 22 years old. If he can show a little pop, down in the minor leagues, he could move quickly up the ranks. He looks like a stud. He is very tall, well-built, and fast. Tony Gwynn Jr. was talking about his 60 time or something that is just... it's next level. So he's got the speed to do it. The only, if you're going to pick apart anything about the game yesterday, I mean, the only hit other than Sullivan's hits was a single from Ha-Seong Kim. So, yeah, man, a lot of guys played. Matt Batten was 0 for 3. He's kind of on the bubble right now as far as making this roster. There are guys that are stepping up, man, and I get the feeling from the skipper is – if you perform, you're going to be on this team. And there are so many open slots. It's a weird situation for probably a lot of these guys. I mean, last year's camp, like if you came in as one of those guys, you're like, I just need to put my work in, man. This roster is absolutely set. San Diego Padres 2024 roster, it feels like it's wide open. There's bench spots. There's everything.
I feel like you've seen the guys who are competing for jobs. A lot of them have had good numbers in the Cactus League. It's going to make it a tougher decision. As Mike Schilt told us, you can't simply evaluate on spring games and performance.
They look at so many other things.
But there are certain guys that they're going to have to use those games as an evaluation tool because they do have to make a decision coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Other guys who are on the team, like Joe Musgrove, who we talked to yesterday, results matter 0 in spring. You're working on different things. Mentally, maybe, Joe said, yes, I would rather
shove.
Get guys out and shove than not, but you're not going to be hugely concerned with guys who are on the roster. Tatis doesn't have a hit yet.
Right.
We all know that he had an exceptional offseason.
Is he on the hot seat?
Ready to go. No worries about Fernando Tatis Jr. He doesn't have to get any hits in spring training. He's in the lineup on opening day.
Yeah.
That's not a big deal, but the pitching side, you've had guys who have definitely stepped up who are in that competition. One guy who needs to step up, and today is probably a critical day for him, is Pedro Avila, who has struggled a little bit in his first couple of starts, and that's okay. If it's your first couple of starts, you can write that off with a good performance today, and everyone goes, all right, he's locked in now, and he's part of this competition as well. But, you put 3 iffy starts together in the spring, even managers and coaches who go, we don't evaluate on spring, are going to eventually say, yes, but compared to a Matt Waldron or a Johnny Brito, and what we've seen in those starts, how can you not go, yeah, but we're still going with Pedro Avila? You're just not going to. So today when the Padres take on the A's in Mesa, you look for Pedro Avila, kind of a pivotal, I think, outing for him because it's getting late now. In a quick spring, it's getting late. There's only, I think you're only going to have like 2 more opportunities after this before Korea. So you have another iffy start today. It's going to be tough to catch up to some of these other guys who have been pitching really well in that competition for the Padres' final starting rotation spots.
And I think today is the day we're also going to see Usak Go make his debut. Interested to see how that goes. I think there's, we talked about an adjustment period for him. I'm still just kind of crossing my fingers that Yuki Matsui is okay. I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but he's going to be a really, really big piece in this bullpen. And they're going to take 31 guys over there, which means when they come back, 5 guys are gone, which is nuts. I mean, you get to go over to Korea and be a big leaguer, but we're also going to have to trim that down from 5. So these games are important for a lot of these guys.
When it comes to Usak Go, I want to be fair because, Michael King was on the backfields for a while before he got his first start in. Darvish pitched on the backfields before he got his first start earlier this week. So the fact that we haven't seen Usak Go in a game yet doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I feel like reading between the lines, there's definitely let's give him a little extra time to try to acclimate here, and that there may be
growing pains?
Yeah, pains, a little less confidence maybe in him so far than what they saw from Yuki Matsui right away in terms of their signings. And that's to be expected. Again, KBO has always been described as more of a AA level of baseball. NPB, the Japan League, is more of a high 4A, somewhere between the major leagues and AAA baseball. So, you have success in one, you have success in the other. Doesn't necessarily immediately translate. And we saw Ha-Sung Kim have a he's had a 3-year adjustment period as he's gotten better and better and better, but it's taken a while. He wasn't a star the second he got. I mean, that first season was long. He had some good moments. He had some struggling moments where it looked like he's never going to hit a fastball in his life.
Yeah,
this guy's
100%.
Never, and now he can, and it took a while. Right. And I'd imagine Usak Go will have some of those same ups and downs with major league hitters as well. How the Padres are going to handle it, I don't know. Will he be in the bullpen right away at the start of the season? Does he have to be there? I don't know the answer to that question. We'll get a little taste of what he looks like against an opposing team, though, expected today against the Oakland A's, who, let's be honest, are also a kind of a quad A sort of team. Maybe more like a Korean or Japanese league team than an actual Major League Baseball team.
Yeah, I mean, they've won 3 games so far this spring. They're 3-2. They got a winning record.
Better than the Padres.
Better than the Padres right now. So, but yeah, this is an opportunity for these guys to show their stuff, and I'm excited. Like I said, I watched a bullpen with Avila the other day, a spirited bullpen. It was not a just nice, easy, relax. Ruben and him were in deep conversation about some of the pitches and his activity. You could tell. I mean, it was a spirited convo. It was pretty cool to watch. Can't say enough good things about the work that I've seen on those backfields from Ruben and Fritzy, just from the get-go every morning, out there with a different guy every day, and they are very impressed with a lot of the arms. Estrada, Iriarte are names that both of those guys mentioned that are filthy. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited about seeing what some of these guys can do.
Elsewhere in the Cactus League yesterday, Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
He looked pretty good.
He looked good.
Pretty good.
I mean, if you were hoping that's not going to translate over to the big leagues, that devastating splitter, that's not going to fool anyone in the major leagues. Looked like it might translate to the big leagues. Pitching Ninja was there. Everyone was talking about it. Tons of videos. 2 innings, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts in his first spring start for the Dodgers. I doubted that they paid $325 million for a guy that they weren't sure was going to be pretty good in the big leagues. And again, spring results, but yeah, that stuff looks like it's going to play, and they're going to have a really good number 2 type starter in their rotation this year.
Very cool.
Yeah,
very,
Padres probably going to face
cool.
him in game 2, likely in Korea.
Lay off the splitter, guys. Lay off the splitter.
Please try. He did give up a hit. It's not. I mean, did give up a hit.
Up hit. It is. It's pretty nasty.
Yeah. There's hasn't been like a ton of Dodgers may be in trouble here. It's not looking like it's coming together, sort of thing. I mean, they're spinning their narrative quite well so far.
They did lose a game finally, so that's good.
Fair enough.
Max Muncy did get hit with a pitch in the hand, and X-rays were negative, and so he's got a contusion. on his little.
How is that expression always confuses me?
On his little possum
X-rays
paw.
were negative.
Sounds
That's
bad.
a good
Good
thing.
news.
That's a good thing.
X-rays are positive is bad news. So X-rays are negative. That's actually good news
Yeah.
for Max Muncy.
Yeah, it is.
And we're not cheering for injuries.
No, of course not. We would never.
Even
We're too
for
classy.
Max- even
too
for
classy.
Max Muncy.
Too classy. He hates to see it happen to anybody.
All right, let's.
No matter who they play for.
We'll come back. Shout out to his family. We also have some real or fake coming up for you. A chance to qualify for Vegas. Hour number 2. Ben and Woods in studio next.
He likes the nightlife, baby. Do you like the nightlife, baby?
I mean, half of our time is the nightlife. You can't avoid it.
I don't really like the nightlife. I like the morning life and the mid-afternoon life is the life for me these days. Used to love the nightlife. Couldn't keep me inside. Can't get me out.
I think there's something really nice about being in bed at night, and just comfortable, cozy, on top of your sheets.
If you're a serial killer, yeah, most serial killers sleep. It's been researched on top of the sheets and the comforter. Got under last night. It was so nice to be back in my own bed. Got home yesterday. It was out of a movie. Hit the garage door, and all of a sudden I see two little munchkins running out of the house, tearing ass out, jump into my arms, both of them. Da-da! It was great. And then 5 minutes in, just full heathens, both of them. I was like, oh, this is what I missed. So good to be home, see the family yesterday. It was great.
I was happy to be back to my my mattress maker's bed as well.
Yeah,
not the Airbnb is not the best.
No, it's not. It's not.
You never know what you're going to get.
That's true. Hairs and stuff.
Kind of Forrest Gump that way.
Yeah.
You guys, you watched a lot more Curb Your Enthusiasm than I have.
I love it so much.
And I heard you I could hear your stomach, like the drop in the back seat yesterday when you go, oh no, Richard Lewis died yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, what a tremendous loss. And I came to Richard Lewis probably a little bit later. He was a stand-up guy in the 80s, and I had seen some of his stand-up, and I went, oh, okay, whatever. It never grabbed me like Sam Kinison or a Richard Pryor or somebody like that, or Eddie Murphy did when I was younger. But when I got to Curb and he started making appearances, I went, oh my God, he's brilliant. I mean, beyond brilliant of a comedian, and his role in that very unscripted show. You can see the comedic genius come through, and you can see the relationship that he had with Larry David, the creator of Curb and the star of the show.
And apparently they were tight, like lifelong friends.
So the funny thing is they were born in the same hospital, like 3 rooms apart, and they found that out later. They went to camp together, and they hated each other from the get-go. They just did not like each other, and then ran into each other on the stand-up scene, in the 70s and 80s, and became best friends. And my heart broke yesterday when I read the quote from Larry David about his dear friend Richard Lewis, who passed away. Now, Richard was suffering from Parkinson's disease, but he actually died of a heart attack. So it just broke my heart yesterday to think about that. And let me find that quote for you real quick. But we got some Richard Lewis, like we got one of his better moments.
This was
recent.
From this season, just a couple episodes ago on the new season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it's a little jarring actually about the substance of what they're talking
exactly.
about.
How is this possible? Well, I have better news for you. I'm leaving you in my will. I'm tweaking it, and you're in it.
No, don't do that.
It's done. You're in.
I don't want to be in. I have money. I don't need it. Give it to someone who needs it.
When I die, I want you to know how much I care about you.
I'm not going to keep it. I'm going to give it to charity.
You're my best friend. You're getting it.
No, I'm making a Sherman-esque statement about the will right now.
I'm sick of your historical references.
If nominated, I will not run. If bequeathed, I will not accept.
Well, I'm bequeathing.
Well, I'm not accepting.
Well, you'll have to accept.
Don't give it to me.
Don't hurt my feelings.
I'm not going to keep a penny of it.
You're hurting me.
Thank you, but I don't want it.
I'm giving it to you anyway, pal.
Oh, my God. You.
Actually, I had it wrong. It said, here's the quote. It said, Richard and I were born 3 days apart in the same hospital. And for most of my life, he's been like a brother to me. He had that rare combination of being the funniest person and also the sweetest. But today, he made me sob. And for that, I'll never forgive him. It's a very Larry David-esque quote, but it just hits you right in the gut. So let's do it in proper Ben and Woods fashion, Paulie, if you would.
And I really hope we can see more unity and more peace when already things are so difficult. So, shout out to his family.
The great Richard Lewis at 76 years old. You would see them when they would do their scenes, and they would be arguing in their scenes, but they would both be smiling as they're doing it because they're about to go. Like the take is about to be over because they're about to start laughing. And I went last night, of course. My wife and I watched one of our favorite episodes. When he said, Ben, you know the phrase "from hell," like, oh, that was the date from hell, or my wife from hell, whatever. Richard Lewis says that he coined that phrase, and he wants to get in I think it's Bartlett's. He wants to be recognized.
Book of quotations.
Bartlett's. Yeah. Larry's like, are you sure? It's me. I coined that phrase. And he goes, I never get any credit for it. And Larry has an in and thinks he can get it in. It is just he was just such a funny guy. And, it's the true mark, too, of a person and their legacy. When you see the reports coming in or the people tweeting about him, you know what everybody said? All the old comedians said, nobody helped me more and encouraged me more in my career when I was this idiot stand-up. I didn't know what I was doing. Richard Lewis always encouraged me. People were posting text messages that he had sent them, and I love you, and just checking in. It was just really sweet.
I have
a
comedy question for you. And let me first, we need a contestant. We got Real or Fake coming up here in a couple of minutes if you want to be online. No one's there right now, so call 833-288-0973. Chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas coming up here in just a second. 833-288-0973. So I watched my first few Curb Your Enthusiasm episodes, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of that show is ad-libbed. They have a premise, they have a kind of an idea of where they're going, but they're making it up as you go. And you can sort of see that at times where things get a little slow and awkward and they're like feeling each other out. It's like this show more than it is like a scripted television show. Do you prefer one way or the other?
Yes.
Like when something is scripted out, comedy, like you can get the timing exactly right. You know exactly when it comes in for maximum effect because it's all been planned out in advance. They didn't do it that way on Curb Your Enthusiasm. It was much more spur of the moment and just what we think of as comedy.
I like, obviously, I mean, this is how I live my life on this show, is I don't do a whole lot of planning and we never script out things. So
things fall flat, though, when you're doing it that way as well.
I think so, but more things hit through the stratosphere as well. You can't plan some of the moments we've had in here. You just can't. Like when you were explaining that people are actually into S&M. I mean, that I got a DM from someone in the business, and she said to me, I know radio bits. She was in radio. And she said, was that scripted? I go, absolutely not. I would tell you. We tried to script one thing, early in our career. And it was like a Sister Jean phone call. Oh my God. And it was so bad that I said, all right, well, we tried that. We're not doing that anymore. And
Paul, you have that audio still?
Please don't play that audio. Oh, my God, it was so bad. And I said, all right, well, we just need to go off the cuff. So I've always been really comfortable off the cuff instead of planning and plotting and scripting. Not saying I'd be great on Curb Your Enthusiasm or anything, but I'd be better there than as an actor trying to deliver a comedic line, I think.
I think it'd be really hard when you're trying to make that show, though, and you do the take, and it was like, that wasn't great. We gotta try that again. Yeah. Go. I mean, same premise. Let's try it again and make it funnier this time.
They're so good, man. They're so good at what they do, and he and Larry, like that. What a twosome that is going to be forever missed.
I also saw Cheryl Hines had a really touching tribute.
She plays
posted.
Larry's wife on the show.
Ex-wife now. Spoiler
alert. She said it's a picture of her and Richard Lewis, and she said he would take time to tell the people he loved what they meant to him. In between takes on Curb, he would tell me how special I was to him and how much he loved me. To be loved by Richard Lewis, a true gift. I love you, Richard. You will be missed.
Oh, kills me, man. He was so good. So good. I love you guys. You guys mean the world to me.
Thanks,
so there you go.
Love you too.
Thank you.
All right, double shout out this morning.
Yep.
All right, let's. It's a Throwback Thursday. Let's play a little Real or Fake.
Some are here for the compelling sports talk with Ben and Woods. If you can go plow through another donut. It's time for Real or Fake on 97.3 The Fan. Tell the people what they'll win today.
All right, we are playing for the qualification for the grand prize drawing trip to Las Vegas, 2 nights at the Westgate, 2 tickets to Air Supply in concert May 31st, June 1st, coming up faster than you realize at the International Theater. Check out the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino and their newly designed premier rooms, part of their $70 million room renovations. Our contestant today, is it John? What's your name? John.
Yeah, John.
John.
Oh,
all right,
hi,
John's
John.
there. All right, speak up. You gotta be heard to win this game. You've got 7 questions. If you get 4 of them correct, you will qualify for the trip to Las Vegas. Woodsy can help you. Here's your category on Real or Fake. In honor of Leap Day, today's game of Real or Fake is all about famous leaps by Evel Knievel. I will give you an obstacle. You have to tell me if it is a real jump attempted by the legendary Daredevil on his motorcycle or a fake. I've made up to fool you. You know anything about Evel Knievel, Woods?
I mean, who of our age did not admire Evel Knievel? And it was the name. Evel Knievel was perfect.
All right.
I know a little bit.
John, are you ready to play? All right, round 1. Starts fairly simple. The Snake River Canyon Gorge, real or fake, John?
Yeah.
That is
Real. Idaho, 1974.
Is John on an Idaho potato? Because I can barely hear him.
I heard the answer. It was correct.
Okay.
He didn't quite make it. The parachute deployed. I think he broke several bones in his body trying to do that one. Was one of his later jumps and didn't go that well. All right, that's 1 for you. Round number 2. 100 rattlesnakes. Real or fake, John?
Fake.
Fake.
Yeah.
Did it in Plymouth, California, 1972. That
He
one
did?
is real. No,
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry.
He did
that?
one. I mean, on a motorcycle, as long as you don't fall off,
Well,
you're
if you-
probably fine.
And
But,
like, even if you land on them, you're like, all right, sorry.
well, if they bite you, you'd not be happy about it at that point. You don't want to land in the pit of rattlesnakes.
Not in
It's
a pit. Oh, it was a rattlesnake
Yeah,
pit.
like a rattle.
I
Like
thought
a,
you had them all lined up.
No, I actually am not sure. I didn't see video of it, so I don't know if it was a pit or just a line of.
Stay still.
Yes.
Stay still.
Don't wiggle too
Don't
much.
move.
We need you as long as possible here.
That is
All
terrifying.
right, round number 3.
He did that one successfully?
Yes.
Okay.
He did that one successfully. Round number 3. 3 African elephants. Real or fake, John?
Fake.
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 Yeah.
That is fake. Did not jump elephants. All right, that's 2 correct, 1 incorrect. Let's go to round number 4. The Panama Canal. Real or fake? Evel Knievel jump, John. The Panama Canal.
Fake.
Fake.
Fake, right?
That is fake.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it pretty?
It's wide enough for a ship to go through. I don't
Okay.
know if he could have made it or not, but he never tried it.
I just
so.
pulled up a picture.
It'd be a long one.
Be a long
Well, He
one.
made some long jumps,
He did.
though, that's for sure. All right, that's 3 correct. You are 1 away from the win today. A Boeing 747 jet. Real or fake, John?
Did you say I got a lifeline?
You do. You can ask Woods anytime you want. He doesn't look
Yes.
that confident here, but you can ask him.
Okay, man. We're 50-50 here. A Boeing 747, obviously across it, not lengthwise. Maybe. It sounds fake, so I'm going to say real. I kind of know how Ben's brain works.
John, your answer, please.
Real.
Real! You are wrong, but you're not done
Should've
yet. The game
stuck
is
with
not,
my gut.
not
Okay,
over.
all
That
right,
was a
we're
fake
all right.
one.
We're all right.
All right, let's go to round number 6. 13 sharks. Real or fake?
Jump the shark.
Jump the shark. Evel Knievel lived long before that expression, I think.
Fake.
Fake. 1977
Son
in
of a-
Chicago. Actually crashed during practice on that one.
Terrifying.
Oh, man.
Did
All right,
not
we're
get
getting
eaten
close.
by the
We're all
shark.
right. We're
So
okay.
now it comes down to the last one.
Oh, God.
Weird.
Oh,
I've got
good.
good news for everybody, though. Here we go. Real or fake? The Caesars Palace fountains in Las Vegas. Real or fake, John?
Real.
Real.
Yeah.
It
real.
is!
Yes,
In
sir.
1967, one of his most famous leaps. For a leap day, John, you are a winner. Congratulations. Stay on the line. Paulie will get your information during the break. We'll put you into the drawing for Las Vegas, where you, too, can go see the Caesars Palace fountains.
Yeah, you can.
Not that far away from the West Gate. I don't think they'll let you jump over them.
I just thought he was the coolest when I was a little kid. Thought he was just the name, Evel Knievel, the garb that he would wear.
You'll be surprised. I thought he was somewhat reckless and irresponsible.
Which he definitely was, hence the term daredevil. That's the whole. But I don't think I can stomach. I can't watch like tightrope walkers and stuff these days. You guys saw a hang glider yesterday. I couldn't even look.
There's like 2 or 3 of them in the East County. I've seen
my
now.
God.
It was like the ones at the cliffs at Torrey Pines, which you see during the golf tournament.
We were
and-
coming down from Alpine.
But yeah,
this was
one
like by Verona.
Yeah, down by like Flynn Springs. We were
Lakeside.
coming down.
Yep,
Yeah,
getting
Lakeside,
to
Flynn
Lakeside
Springs, and they were like, I don't know where they were coming from or going.
On the south side of the 8, just
Over the freeway, right?
mountains, just cruising over the freeway.
Cruising eastward. I mean, I don't know the wind. I don't know how far it was going to carry them. If they were going to make it all the way to Peoria at some point, maybe they're arriving now at spring training.
I did not like that.
Check out what the Padres are up to today. But that was a unusual sight, at least for me, in the East County on the way back. Yeah, I would not want to jump anything in a vehicle.
No, I'm kind of over it too. Got a lot to live for.
All right, we will take a timeout. Don't do this is coming up next.
This is some audio you guys are going to. You're going to really enjoy this.
Here's how I describe it. If Scott Boras had gone into
being
a defense attorney,
he is an attorney.
He is an attorney, but like a criminal defense attorney rather than a professional sports agent. This is what it might have sounded like. Coming up next on Don't Do This.
Audio.
When we return after a check of traffic, it's Ben and Woods on a Thursday on 97.3 The Fan. All right, Throwback Thursday edition of Don't Do This. It is brought to you by the Craft Taco in Serrano Valley. The Craft Taco has some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Do this and take a look at their happy hour specials today. Crafttaco.com.
Fiending.
I'm still reading through the details. I actually saw this headline for the first time yesterday, and now the big lead has some more details on the lawsuit that has been filed against a burgeoning DDT Hall of Famer in Tyreek Hill.
There's a couple about him today. There's a paternity scene for him. There's this one. Yeah, he's cruising up there.
So the Miami Dolphins all-pro wide receiver is being sued by a British social media influencer named Sophie Hall, who alleges he broke her leg during backyard football drills in Miami last summer.
Okay. Odd.
What? Okay. How did this happen? So here's this is TMZ got a hold of the lawsuit. Hall claims after she made her way to Hill's home, and I'm not exactly sure what she was doing there yet, he asked her to participate in some football drills during a training session he was having in his backyard. Hill allegedly asked her to rush against him in a defensive line versus offensive line one-on-one style workout. It's confusing because it's Hill and Hall, and she's Hall, he's Hill.
Right.
According to Hall, she shoved the Super Bowl champion backwards. So she like pushed him off the line on the drill, which caused him to be embarrassed. Mr. Hill's attitude changed and he became angry, Hall said in her suit. Hall alleges Hill then flipped the drill around so he could rush against her, and after a couple of reps, she said Hill charged into her violently and with great force, causing her to suffer a right leg injury. Hall says she complained that she was hurt, but claims Hill downplayed the severity of the injury, telling her to just rest on a bed and ice the leg. That is a weird story.
It's an odd.
That's almost a Curb Your Enthusiasm type moment.
Larry shows up somewhere and has to do drills with a tight end or something. Yeah,
it'll be fine. It's just you rush, you try to get to the quarterback, you'll be fine, Larry.
I wonder what. I mean, if you, I don't know. I wonder what the legalities are. If you say, yeah, let's we'll do a couple of reps and you get hurt, right?
It's obviously, he's got to be. I mean, he's a world-class athlete. She's a social media influencer. You've got to take it somewhat easy on someone like that.
Yeah,
if you're going to do a drill,
I would imagine.
And who knows if any of this is true? Someone's suing for an athlete for money. You believe just about anything that comes out about Tyreek Hill at this point.
Fair enough.
But that's a weird one for sure.
We told you guys back when this happened that it was a very, very crazy story in the Kansas City area. There's the Chiefs super fan known as Chiefaholic, real name Xavier Babudar. He was he was robbing banks, and he robbed like 7 banks, and it was just this huge thing. He's such a well-known member of the Chiefs kingdom. And everyone was really shocked when they found out it was Chiefaholic. And he pled guilty to the bank robbery charges that he faced in federal court. Adam Schefter's been tweeting about his trial.
You expect it from Boltman, but from Chiefaholic.
From Chiefaholic. I thought things were going good for you guys. So this is the best part. His attorney, Matthew Merriman, came down the steps of the courthouse to a very anxious media. They thrust their microphones in his face and listen to how this guy describes what went down in court.
From the beginning of this case, folks, the government has been blitzing, and Xavier's pocket was collapsing. But today, Xavier stepped into the pressure.
Oh my God.
He took responsibility for his actions. He stood up in court, humble and repentant, and admitted what he had done. Now, if I know anything about Xavier, and if the Chiefs Kingdom knows anything about Chiefsaholic, we know that he doesn't give up. We know that if he stumbled and he fell, he didn't let his knee touch the ground.
Oh my God.
And that's because he's capable of doing a great thing. And he knows that there's still hope. We still have a lot of work to do on his case, but Xavier wants everyone to know that he loves the Chiefs Kingdom, he loves Kansas City, and he hopes that you'll rally to his support. Thank you and God bless.
He's a bank robber.
And he's famous for being a football fan.
Right.
Who robs banks.
Who robs banks.
Right, but the lawyer here this is incredible. He looks like a nerdier Alan Ruck, if that's even possible.
Yes. Yeah.
Spot on.
His pocket was collapsing. Karen just nailed it. I saw someone compare this lawyer to a real-life Michael Scott. Yeah, from The Office. It's absolutely Michael Scott-esque. I could not believe this when I saw this yesterday. The pocket was collapsing. The government's been blitzing. I mean, he didn't let his knee hit the ground. It's next level. I think he's facing 50 years in prison. So
good.
Now, if you're the Chiefs fan community, are you going to throw your support behind a bank robber? He robbed a teacher's credit union, by the way. So I'm going to say pass. Let the guy rot in prison where he
took money
deserved.
from poor teachers.
Correct. Like, come on, dude. That was real. No, is this satire? No, that was a real press conference yesterday from that guy. It's staggeringly great. Somebody says sounds like
satire, but it's also real.
Yeah, it's satire, but it's also real. It says sounds like Lawyer Ben. I don't even know that you'd go down that road.
I mean, that's Scott Boras to a T, the puns that he has. But that at least is, we're talking about free agency in baseball. It's kind of half entertainment, half lawyering. Is he a public defender? Did he get assigned this case? And this is my ticket out of the PD's office, like to a private practice.
He's a star.
If I can get enough attention on this case, I have no idea.
He's a star. Yes, I know that they're insured, but just because they're insured doesn't mean I can just go rob a bank. What about the teller that you stuck a gun in her face and said, I need $150,000? I mean, she's forever scared. Don't rob banks. All right?
Don't do that.
Even if it's insured and everyone gets their money,
Don't do this.
All right, finally a little do this on a Thursday.
DD mega doo-doo.
You'll accuse me of Dodger loving, but I want to congratulate Shohei Ohtani on the news this morning that he announced on social media. Shohei, to all my friends and fans throughout, I have an announcement to make. Not only have I begun a new chapter in my career with the Dodgers, but I have also began a new life with someone from my native country of Japan who is very special to me, and I want everyone to know I am now married.
Wow.
So the do this is no one has been better at keeping their cards close to the vest than Shohei Ohtani.
Tough thing to do.
The free agency process.
When you're a global superstar.
Didn't even reveal the name of his dog. The guy knows how to keep those secrets secret. How do you, with the amount of attention that he gets here and in Japan, the media, the paparazzi that follow him everywhere.
No idea.
He went through like an entire courtship, relationship, proposal, wedding that I presume there were some people like he knew, like friends that came and family members that came to his wedding. And not one word slipped out about this to anyone. The guy has his wrapped up tight. Tighter than any celebrity athlete I have ever seen.
He's married. He doesn't have to wrap up anything.
No, but his business. He does not.
Business.
Everyone in his circle.
Why you get married?
Everyone in his circle, is bought in. No one leaks anything about Shohei Ohtani. That's amazing when you think about it.
Well, congratulations.
No loose lips on that ship, and congratulations. Maybe this will be a distraction for him.
Maybe.
I mean, at the same time, we're counting on Manny's newborn to be like the fuel that MVP season.
Dad strength is real. I've never heard of husband strength, but I have heard
Newlywed
of
strength.
dad
That's
strength.
true. That's a good point. And that's don't and do this for a Thursday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
And Shohei Ohtani has just announced that he is also Batman. I mean, would it surprise you? He's keeping everything secret.
Really love Shohei Ohtani.
I don't know. It's just I'm amazed by him. He has deep layers that we have not seen yet.
Ben, you do a great job.
There it is.
Let's just get rid of that one at this point.
Absolutely.
I don't think so.
There's a picture.
I don't think you have that power.
I'm a Mike Schilt guy now. I'm riding with Schilty at this point.
Ben, you do a great job.
Schilty.
Taught my 6-year-old holy Schilt last night, and he thought it was the
next
funniest
time we
thing.
see Mike, can I get him to say, Ben, you do a great job?
Yeah.
Just so we can replace it, maybe?
We'll not replace it, but we'll just have them both.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, let's get him to
Compare
do that.
and contrast.
Yes, 100%.
All right, speaking of Scott
Go
Boras.
Dave Roberts.
Oh, God.
Speaking of Scott Boras, the actual Scott Boras had a couple of comments yesterday as Cody Bellinger was introduced to the Chicago Cubs, but he still has many clients out there, including Blake Snell. Some reports at what Blake Snell might be looking for now, late in free agency. We'll get to that coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. You can listen to Sam Levitt's podcast, Inside San Diego Baseball. Sam does so much content.
So much.
From spring training. Paulie killed it with content.
No
at
doubt.
Spring training this week as well for us.
I was talking to my dad this morning, and he goes, "Hey, was Paulie okay?" And I go, "Yeah, why?" And he goes, "Well, he just kind of looked like he was staring at his computer." I go, "Dad, every time we put it, he had to go load everything we did, so he was slammed behind the scenes, absolutely slammed, uploading stuff, loading the podcast, getting the audio fixed." I said, dude was working nonstop. So, he was like, he goes, "I didn't hear much from him." I go, "Dude was buried getting stuff
When
up."
I wasn't, clipping a video,
running to
running
get
to
players.
the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Paulie still working there. He was just turning in his expense report.
Good luck.
Have you turned in yours yet?
No,
I have not done mine yet either. I think I'm going to get to it tomorrow.
Yours is going to be a lot more complicated than mine.
I have, so I ended up
a lot more complicated.
I ended
don't know
up
what to
paying
do.
for the dinner with Mike Schill.
Yeah,
that involves a guest, like an outside vendor from outside the company, like an entertainment expense. I'm not sure how to work that, like how to mark that down on the expense report.
I think you just add him to it.
Maybe we just bring Adam in and we do this on the air
Where
with
is
him
he? Is he
That
here
is
yet?
a
this
great
morning.
idea. He should.
So-
Like at our 9
Any
o'clock
minute.
hour today, expenses
I
with
want it
Adam
the
Klug.
second he walks into the
And we'll
building.
just go item by item, and he can, if he has any objections, he can voice them right on the air. Like, why did you spend, what was that charge for at P.F. Chang's? That was the lettuce wraps for an appetizer.
I'm very worried about the hotel that I paid for, and I don't think that I'm going to get that money back. And I can't. We've talked.
Well, that'll be a separate conversation as well with Adam about how to reimburse the lost night at the Airbnb, the added 3 hotel rooms for the night that we couldn't sleep at the Airbnb.
Yep.
What the Airbnb host is going to recompensate us for.
Because we got that info. We got the info from him.
I also paid for a lunch that included Sammy Levitt. He's an employee, so I think I can put him on the employee expenses. But it's like $25 tops per
Tell me
person.
the company
so.
won't pay because Mike Schilt is not a company employee.
I believe he's there'd be an entertainment expense. Like big executives, they have those fat expense accounts where they can take clients out to the big
If the
dinners.
Padres flagship won't treat the manager out,
I
to
feel
dinner,
like we should be fine on that one. I mean, it wasn't an extravagant dinner by any sense of the imagination. As we both said, we didn't have any alcohol. Right. We had one appetizer that we shared among the four of us, and we each got one entree. Mike Schill actually ordered some sushi as well.
He did.
We didn't get any dessert.
No
it was
dessert?
as frugal as a P.F. Chang's dinner as you're going to get.
Talked to my dad this morning driving in, as I just mentioned, and he was telling me, because I told him, I go, I'm have anxiety about submitting this expense report because I feel like I'm going to be on the hook for, a lot of cash. And he worked for GE for many, many years. Jack Welch, the famous CEO, and he said one time, Jack told his group, "Let me worry about saving a nickel. You guys go out and try to make $1. Okay? You guys go out and try to do your best. In our case, make great content, blah, 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 get good ratings, all that. Mine, mission accomplished." But he goes, "I'll worry about saving a nickel."
And we did.
You
and
go out and try to make $1.
Adam's job is worrying about saving the nickel.
Yeah.
And that's what he's also trying to do.
Oh, man.
oh boy.
So anyway, Sammy Levitt's podcast on the Odyssey app. We will hear from Sam Levitt, I believe, 1 hour from now.
Sweet
See what's
angel.
going on this morning
The
now that we're gone.
sweetest angel.
Is there a big sigh of relief now that we're gone, or does everyone miss us at Peoria this morning? Like, oh, walking by that empty table that no Ben and Woods was there. They like to see our smiling faces, or is it, oh, they're finally gone. We don't have to dodge around them every day. Darvish finally walked by us yesterday, though. The first 2 days we never saw him.
Yeah.
Last day he actually walked by us.
Gave him a shirt.
I think it was when Manny was on because he goes, "There's my best
This is
friend."
my best friend. It was so sweet.
Damn, didn't that boy pitch good yesterday?
Yeah, he goes, "Yeah, damn, didn't that boy pitch good?" Manny was amazing. Manny was absolutely incredible. My wife continues to dig in and said that he was grumpy. And I just said, "Baby, he's not grumpy. Like, he was not grumpy. You know what he was? He was intense. And he was a little bit pissed off and had some things to say. And for the first time ever, we didn't have to pull it out of him. It was the first time ever that Manny sat down, grabbed the mic, and said, "I got some things to say." And he brought up Peter. He brought up the disappointment. He brought up back of the baseball card. He brought up all the things they said wrong. I just sat back and went, "Oh, he's on fire."
He made our job very easy.
He was
actually.
on fire. Just let him go. He was so good and focused, and it feels like they're so driven. So we'll see how it plays out. But he really knocked. Usually with Manny, it's like, hey, so tell us about this, and he gives you a cliche. No cliches. He just hammered it yesterday. It was awesome.
Did Scott Boras overplay and is continuing to overplay his hand this offseason in free agency? We will get to his comments from yesterday right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Soapy Joe's. Well, guys, a crash has cleared on westbound King Freeway at the northbound 5 connector ramp, so speeds are picking up heading into downtown. But now an accident eastbound 8, just past the 805. Car and semi involved there over the right shoulder. Big news from Soapy Joe's Chief Bubble Officer Tony Gwynn Jr. Tony loves his car wash membership, and for a short time, you can get a whole month of unlimited washes for just $1. It's a base steal of a deal, so step up to the plate and join now. Soapy Joe's is good, clean fun. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Little breaking news for the San Diego Padres. Luis Patino's visa issue is resolved, and he will be in camp shortly. That's according to our pals at Mad Friars, who quote tweeted Luis's tweet, "Nos vemos pronto, Dios tomando el control." I don't know what that means, but it looks like everything is good.
Everyone else that has had visa issues, there hasn't really been any concern about falling behind, etc. With Patino, he's a little behind.
Yeah,
I
he
think,
is
when he gets there.
Behind.
Now, I don't think they were expecting him to be in the opening day starting rotation, but could be someone you see at some point during the season for the San Diego Padres. You need more than 12, 13 pitchers. You're probably going to need 20, 21 over the course of the year, and maybe Luis Patino will be one of them at some point.
Yep.
All right, so yesterday, Cody Bellinger was reintroduced. He's already a Cub, but went through the free agency process and landed once again with the Chicago Cubs on a 3-year, $80 million deal that includes opt-outs after the first and second seasons, but not the long-term, 9-figure contract that his agent, Scott Boras, was purported to be looking for this offseason. And I was curious to see how Scott Boras going to spin this, because this is usually it's the old record-setting contract deal, and here's how we did it, and what an amazing client, and what a great decision by this team to sign my client for record amounts of cash. This was a little bit different, and you got some comments from Boras at the press conference yesterday. He said there are variables. We have some irregularity going on in this current market. We have close to 11 teams that are spending less money than they did a year ago, in light of the fact that we have record revenues in baseball. So a little shot at baseball, like, hey, owners, are you hoarding some of this money now that you had been spending before? What's going on here? It's hurting my clients this offseason.
I heard Chris Ello talking about it yesterday with Scravy when I was sitting in traffic driving back from Sedano Ford. I heard them say, there are the teams that have a lot of money don't have a lot of wiggle room with the luxury tax. They just don't. Nobody wants to pay these exorbitant taxes, and
which is what the luxury tax was designed to do by Major League Baseball in the collective bargaining agreement.
Yep.
Rein in some of the big teams from spending. Now, did it work with the Mets? No. But
did it work with the Dodgers?
No.
Well, they've been able to manipulate it a little bit in their favor, but
Padres were obviously an outlier last year, but they're
tightening the belt,
pulling back like most of the other teams do to stay under the luxury tax.
So, to Chris Ello's point, to your point, Scott Boras should have known that.
Well, he claims that he did, because he was kind of asked, well, did you misread the situation? And he, of course, came up with a Boras-like quote. He said, free agency is like turkey and a thermometer. You have to go in, see what the temperature is, evaluate it. And I guess the implication is they read the room, they read the turkey thermometer, and it's a little cool in free agency right now. Maybe we should take a shorter-term deal and perhaps hit free agency again next year.
Bro, I feel like you left the turkey in a little too long, and now it looks like the one in Christmas Vacation for some of your biggest name clients. And I will also say, and I think Ella made this point as well, when you're talking about some of the guys that are remaining, as much as it sucks to be Blake Snell, you're like, bro, I've got 2 Cy Youngs. I won one last year. When you're Cody Bellinger and you're like, I had a monster season last year. It's the up and down, right? It's not the consistent play. Matt Chapman started off so hot offensively. Now, you know what he can do with the glove, but are you going to pay a premium for a glove? and hope that the bat continues to stay hot. So is it a symptom of the bad free agent market? Is it a symptom of the players being a little bit mercurial, you know?
What about the rest of those free agents, those Boris clients that are out there, like Snell, Jordan Montgomery? Matt Chapman
Montgomery's an interesting one.
Available. And Jed Hoyer indicated that the Cubs could be done here. That Bellinger signing puts them right up against the $237 million tax threshold. So that could be another team that you take out of the mix that doesn't want to go after a guy like Blake Snell. And the report was yesterday that Blake Snell would be potentially interested in a Cody Bellinger now type deal, a shorter term opt-out contract that gets him back to free agency with another good season or two.
What are we talking? 3 years, $90 million? Opt out after
like
one?
Bellinger's 30, 20. I mean, identical. What if it was identical to Bellinger's 30-year opt out, $30 million a year opt out, $20 million the third year? Here's the thing, though. For a pitcher, that is much riskier than for even a position player, and it's risky for Cody Bellinger too, given that he's had some really down seasons, and if he has down seasons, he's not going to be able to hit free agency and get that big contract again. But the arm injury concern with a pitcher is always much higher than it is with a position player. And if you go on a short-term deal and all of a sudden, that UCL goes at some point during this year, you're not going to get free agent money. You're not going to get to, opt out and hit that market again. You'll get the couple of year deals with your options, but nothing anywhere near that you were hoping to get. So it's a much riskier proposition for a pitcher to accept a Bellinger-like deal.
I was actually chatting with Dennis Lynn about this yesterday. They were waiting for Mike Schultz presser, and I just asked him too. I said it's a weird market. Is there there's guys out there that are 34 years old, and it feels like, are they done? Like a good example is how old is Will Myers now? Is he just done with baseball? Not
26.
No, kidding. He's he's not the world's greatest player, but
Myers is 33 years old.
33 years old. Brandon Belt, I believe, is 34. Look that up too, Paulie. I don't want to misquote myself, but
Brandon Belt is 35.
35 years old. There used to be a market for these guys. It feels like now is the new magic number in baseball, 34 years old, because a lot of teams, they've drafted well, they're developing okay, and they go, well, I pay a guy $5 million bucks, I can pay him $800,000.
Well, you know what that feels like? Feels like football. They will always go with the younger draft picks over the 31, 32-year-old who are going to make more money toward what? The salary cap in football. You can get more bang for your buck out of the younger, controllable players, keeps you under the salary cap, or in baseball's case, under the luxury tax. You have less value as you get older because you're more expensive. Even the minimum for older players gets to be more. You don't know that you're going to get more out of a Will Myers than you are out of a non-roster, minimum invitee, controllable young player. If you were sure that Will Myers was going to give you a better season, Will Myers was going to give you 20 home runs, no brainer. Sign him. Give him $1.5 million, whatever, get him in there. But you don't know that Will is going to be better than one of these young kids that you can give an opportunity to for essentially nothing, an invite to camp, and if he makes the team, the absolute minimum salary. Why would you go with the older players unless you are firmly convinced that they've got something left in the tank? And who at this point would be firmly convinced that Will Myers has anything left in the tank? Brandon Belt is still a free agent. He had a good season last year.
He's still hitting.
I mean, everyone acts like, Brandon Belt is 35. There's no way he can hit anymore. He had a good, not great, but he had a good season last year. And even he is having trouble finding a job. You're seeing players now accepting non-roster invites. Guys who've been in the big leagues. Yesterday it was Colton Wong. Other guys who have been established big leaguers, and they're just taking an invite at this point. And maybe if I make the team, I'll make $1 million or something.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Hosmer's done with baseball at 35 years old. Not that I don't know that he had much left in the tank production wise, but back in the day, these guys are all getting deals. Somebody's going to bring them to camp for leadership. Joey Votto's out of a job. I mean, it's just it's an odd thing, man. And so I think the younger players see this and they go, "Ooh, my window that I thought I had till I was maybe 38, even 40 if I keep myself in shape." Those days are it feels like they're slipping away a little bit.
Ultimately, when it comes to Snell, and Paulie, I don't want to rain on your parade or that of Padres fans who are thinking this could bring the Padres back into the mix. Short-term, long-term deal.
Come on.
Either of them put the Padres over the luxury tax. 1 year, $25 million puts the Padres over the luxury tax right now. So,
but if he unless he does an Ohtani,
even if he does an Ohtani, you still get charged on the luxury tax for what the overall value is.
I guess I'm more just holding out hope that AJ Preller gets a case of the F-its.
And that's possible. They can pivot and they can change direction whenever they want, and having less risk and less long term is, I'm sure, more appealing to every team when it would come to a Blake Snell. But if the Padres' plan is really to reset the luxury tax, doesn't matter how long the contract is, and unless Blake Snell's willing to pay for $8 million this year, which he's not, he shouldn't be, then he's not coming back to the Padres. We'll see. Right. Maybe they'll pivot. The old last second pivot. That merchandise just looks too good to pass up.
Fair enough.
I want to continue this just briefly.
All right, yeah, we can come back. We'll reset the show, continue this conversation next with Ben Woods on the Fan.
All right, we are halfway home on a Thursday. Ben and Woods 97.3, The Fan. And, one thing I think we're forgetting about, and I think we always forget about, is you can't – the pitcher – we say, oh, man, wouldn't it be refreshing for a guy that said, you know what? I've made so much money in my career. I just want to go play where I'm wanted and loved and comfortable. What am I worth? 30? I'll sign for 8. Well, what does that do to the guys coming on the free agent market next year? It happens in our business. People will take, no money to do this, and it screws everybody else. It really does.
Sets the precedent.
Yeah, it sets a precedent. Well, I mean, if I can get this guy for half, like it's
So
they're
my
a fraternity.
We were just talking about Blake Snell, and if I try to put myself in Blake Snell's mindset, if he's going to play on a shorter contract and essentially bet on himself, have an opt-out after one, and hope to have another great year, and then get paid again next offseason, it puts the Padres at least at the top of the list because he is notoriously known for wanting to be comfortable, knowing his surroundings and all of the people around him. He's already missed 3 weeks of spring training. If he signs a 2-year, 3-year deal with like the Detroit Tigers or something, he's going to be wildly uncomfortable.
I see where you're coming.
You're right.
You're basically
right.
saying if I sign a $12 million deal with the Padres, I have a better chance at signing a $150 million deal this next offseason because I'm going to have a better season in San Diego.
San Diego, Tampa Bay, and maybe Seattle.
Than I would. I promise you Scott Boras isn't thinking that way. That's the one part of this equation that never made a ton of sense to me. Blake Snell feels like the anti-Scott Boras client.
No doubt.
That the guy who has different priorities than just wanting to squeeze every last dollar out of his deal. Right. Everything we've known about him tells me that Scott Boras is the wrong agent for Blake Snell.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a fit like it was for Jurickson Profar. And Scott overplayed his hand on Jurickson Profar.
And And we don't know, so it also makes me reevaluate. Well, what is Blake Snell's priority?
Right.
Is it exactly what he tells us and how he acts, or does he, like the rest of us, just want to make every possible dollar he can? And why wouldn't we go with Scott Boras? If Scott Boras said he wanted to be our agent today, sorry, Brad, this is a hypothetical scenario. I know your comfortability is very important to you. You've said many times, I don't want to leave San Diego. I want to be here for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I'm not leaving.
But if you had the opportunity to have the super agent of all super agents, he says, I can do huge things for you. I can do amazing things, but you're going to have to listen to my advice. I'm not going to take you on as a client if all you're going to do is say no to everything that I'm suggesting. Would you accept Scott Boras as your agent?
I don't think so.
There you go.
I don't think so. I mean,
but Blake Snell did. I'm sure he knew what was what when he hired Scott Boras as his client. There's no secret.
I'm sure he also wasn't anticipating missing 3 weeks of camp and not knowing where he's going to go.
How can you not if Scott Boras is your agent?
Yeah,
he's famous for having people wait and wait and wait and wait to sign. He is notorious for that. It happened with Hosmer. It happens with so many of his clients. If Blake Snell wanted to, he could have gone with John Boggs, any kind of agent who would say, what's important to you, Blake? And Blake says, well, obviously I want to get as much as possible, but I'd really like to sign here in November and get going with my new team as early as possible. You know who did that? Nick Martinez did that. Nick Martinez signed in November with the Reds, like the first free agency. He goes, I wanted to be with a new team right away. I didn't want to wait around forever, and he signed. You can make that a priority. If you're a client, you can say that to your agent, no matter who your agent is, even if it's Scott Boras. Is Scott Boras Nick Martinez's agent?
He is.
I think he is. So you can say that and go, this is my priority. If you don't accept that, then don't be my agent. We can go with someone else. So Blake has certainly not laid the law down with Scott Boras again.
As far as we know, yeah.
Well,
he hasn't signed.
If it was important for him to sign early, then he didn't do it because we're well beyond the signing early stage. We're in the signing very, very late stage.
I'm just holding out hope. We talked about it on the drive home yesterday a little bit. Tommy Pham was the other name that's still out there, and we're thinking, I don't know, I'm just throwing out a number, $8 million. And let's say Blake Snell wants $30 a year. We're talking $38 million. You add those two guys, all of a sudden, I think that is a team, that is a roster of guys that you know, and if everybody plays to their abilities, of course, that has to happen too on the field, unlike last year. But if the regression to the mean and all of that happened this year, and you added those two guys for $35 million, $40 million, whatever it is, that's a team that is a second-place team, potentially.
Yep.
That is a team that is competing for a wild card, potentially, this year. Right now, I still think they're several guys away, and those would be two huge additions to the team.
It's a great argument. If a one player puts you over the top, you should almost always go after that player. And, Padres last season maybe thought Xander Bogaerts was the guy that put them over the top to win a World Series. Here's the problem. When you think the player is the guy that puts you over the top and you are wrong, that's a really bad mistake. Padres, made a bad mistake when it came to their finances last year. He didn't not only put them over the top to win a World Series, they didn't even make the playoffs. And if you gamble on Blake Snell and you sign him to a $28 million deal and you go over the luxury tax instead of following whatever maybe your plan was to reset because you thought he put you over the top and then you don't make the playoffs, you've set everything back another year. You have delayed your plan. Everybody's getting older, and you've made another big mistake on top of the maybe mistake you made the year before. And I'm not saying Xander Bogaerts was a mistake, but I'm saying that if you thought he was the guy who put you over the top to win a World Series last year, most clearly he was not. Now, I'm not saying it was his fault, but that team did not win a World Series, correct?
Correct. Yeah. This is me just not being able to fully get on board with a reset year or anything, whatever you want to call this year. Getting under the luxury tax and resetting and hoping to bolster everything in 2025. It's not the
fans' job to get on board with resetting the luxury tax.
Back-to-back years of missing the playoffs in Manny Machado's prime, and then we're going to wait until 25, 26, 27, and then Xander, Joe, Darvish, all those guys. Yes, we're excited about the youth movement, but all these guys that we have already invested in are just another 2-3 years older. That's a problem.
There are baseball fans who get into the minutia and go, I can see how this will work for them long term, and I'm on board with the plan of resetting. But it's not your job as a fan to be, I am so excited about us getting under the luxury tax this year and all the potential promise that could mean in the future. As a fan, you want as many good players, as possible, and you don't care what they cost.
100%.
And I hope the Padres management understands that Eric Katsenda and Eric Grupner understand that it's not the fans' job to understand their plan of being a little more fiscally responsible this year and even the competitive benefits it may provide. We can talk about it and explain those. They exist. That the Padres may be more competitive and better off for the next 6 years if they reset this year. And that could be a really good thing for fans. But it's not fans' job to understand that and just go, applaud your responsibility this year, Padres. You're allowed to be disappointed when your team cuts payroll by $100 million.
You absolutely
are.
You
are absolutely allowed to do that. In fact, you'd be kind of weird if you didn't do that a little bit
just
as a
like
fan.
You said, if you invest in one player that you think will put you over the edge and you don't make the playoffs, that's a huge blow to the franchise for another year. It's the same likelihood that we're putting all our eggs in these young guys that don't amount to anything in 2 years. And then where are we at now?
Yeah, where are you at then? That's
also an option. I hope it doesn't happen, but that is an option.
That's the needle threading, that we talked about. You have to thread the needle. You cannot come out this year. We told Mike Schilt to his face at dinner, this team's got to be competitive. They have to be. The fan base got a taste. You can't take it away from them. You need to give it back to them after last year. You cannot, and no one's going to cheer for a reset, and nor should you.
I just got one of the all-timers when it comes to PR interview pitches. Can I share it with you?
Absolutely.
So, Ben, would you like to interview one of the editors of Lawn Love magazine?
Okay.
About how San Diego is the 9th best city in America for barnyard-themed weddings.
That is... Get him on the line.
Would you want to get him on the
No,
So barns now match
You're
traditional banquet halls in venue popularity. So which cities are best for couples looking to get hitched in a rustic barn setting? And San Diego ranks 9th, just ahead of L.A. Beat L.A. on rustic barnyard weddings. I only bring this up because it's ridiculous, because so many of these pitches I have. But you could end up with, cows mooing or birds tweeting throughout the entire wedding, distracting you the entire time.
So I didn't notice when we were out at spring training, I did not notice the birds, really. I usually do. Now, there was a guy with a leaf blower every morning. I noticed that. It was very loud. I was hoping.
Usually before the show.
Before the show, yeah. But our beloved Tier 1 Trang tweeted yesterday. She said, from Ben and Woods this morning to Jesse and Tony, sounds like they're all broadcasting from a rainforest cafe. Dude. And I was like, well, there were some birds there. I heard them when we were off mic. I didn't hear them on the air.
I heard them. They were there. They hung around because, well, it's the table, the picnic tables are where they eat. So food gets dropped. Birds love being around there. They can pick up scraps. And,
from our open yesterday.
But what it did was it made Mrs. Woods revisit something that I thought we had squashed a couple of weeks ago. She came home. She and Taylor went out to run errands. I was home with Bo. And she said, oh, my God, look at this picture. And she holds up her phone and shows me this picture of a bird. And they went to the pet store, or like Petco or something, and they looked at birds. And I said, no. And she said, please. And I go, Hannah, absolutely not. And she said, please. We had birds growing up. And I said, I don't care. We're not getting a bird. We have 3 cats. We have 2 small children. And her mother dropped off this Pomeranian about 6 months ago. And I don't think she's ever coming back for her. So we have that dog as well. I go, I don't want a bird. Why? Because for me, it's because of the noise. I don't want to hear in my home a bird chirping or squawking. So she didn't say anything. And then she tweeted yesterday.
You know that I believe that birds do most of their squawking and chirping in the morning hours when you're not going to be there.
Well, I'm there on the weekends. What if I'm asleep and I'm trying to get some rest and there's a bird in my home? If a bird flew in your house, you'd try to get it out. You wouldn't feed it.
It's not supposed to be there.
Correct. It's not supposed to be there. Birds are meant to be out and about.
Unless you're Brooksy at Shawshank Redemption.
Unless you're Brooksy at Shawshank.
You feed Jay.
Imagine, I'm lying. Huh? She tweeted it, but he's so cute. And I said, Hannah, we're not getting a bird, so quit asking. It's not happening. You know I hate excess noise. I hate it.
I want to be on Hannah's side here. Pets are healthy and good for the kids and to learn, but Paulie, you're making a strong argument right now.
Imagine, you're just at home,
the bird in the house,
trying to get some work done. You're reading a book. I told her in the thread, I go, if you get a bird, I'm moving out. I'm moving out of our home.
Now you could, if you got a parrot, you could train it to like at least say cool things.
I don't care. I've got 2 kids that I can train to say whatever I want.
Like a Mina bird, or do those talk?
I don't know.
You can have Mina Machado, and you can teach him to say cool phrases.
I mean, that's. I'll admit, the allure of teaching them to say curse words and stuff is fun, but I already do that with my kids. They already know all the bad words. They're my birds. I have them. And they're little humans. And
you've got your little repeating parrots.
I've chosen that to have them in their lives and to be their father. Also, how about if the bird gets out of its cage and comes and pecks your eyes out in the middle of the night? How about that for one?
Well, I mean, you're taking care of them. Why would they peck your eyes out? You're the provider.
They're feral, weird animals that aren't supposed to be in a cage.
What if the cat eats the bird? That's
the other thing.
You don't get a canary. You don't want the cat that ate the canary.
Bro, I'm telling you, I'm going to lose. I won't divorce her, but I will move out until the bird is dead. I can't do it, dude.
And now picture yourself. You're at your home. You wake up in the morning, walk into the living room. Hello, Mina Machado. Or whatever.
Do the show, bitch!
Nah, that's pretty cool.
Go to hell, Pro Sports.
It's a little Ben bird.
I like squirt.
Jake Cronenworth is pretty good. Holy crap. All right, if I could teach a bird to say, do the show, bitch, it's pretty good, I guess. I just told her, I said, do
the show, bitch!
It's so stupid. I love it. I said, if you came home with another cat, I'm in. I love them. They're so sweet. They're no maintenance at all. They're so fun to play with, and they bat you around and cuddle on you. It's great. It's great. Dog's fine, whatever. I got to draw the line at the bird. I have to. There's already, my next door neighbor already runs his leaf blower for 16 hours a day, at least. I'm like, what are you blowing? What is there possibly to blow? All day long. It never stops. Might as well get a pet leaf blower. And we just leave it on in the house at all times. I swear to God, man. I'm going to start walking around with earplugs in. I told her, I said, if you do it, I'm out. I'll pack a bag that night. And when you get rid of him, I'll come home. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
We got another stop at our Tier 1 tour coming up. I think we've done the bird teams. We did the Orioles, the Blue Jays, the Cardinals.
I like a good thin pancake.
I just got lightheaded.
Well, we'll do the Pittsburgh Pirates. They're famous for having birds usually on their shoulders, right?
Yeah, Pirates.
That's his pet bird as we're going to get in our Tier 1 tour. Coming up next after a check of traffic, it is Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Before we, slam the truck into drive here, the Ben bus, as it were.
Paulie does want a cracker.
Yeah.
Paulie, you want a cracker?
Oh, God. Josh Gorel, our beloved Tier 1 from Dallas, here in Dallas, says, I got a bird when I was a kid. I brought it home, went straight to my room. I let it out. It immediately flew into the bedroom fan that I left on and died. Didn't get another one.
Sad.
Had it for 5 minutes, dude. Oh, fly.
Maybe you're worrying a little too much about this bird.
It also sounds really traumatizing.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's terrible. Mom, we've got a problem.
Hannah, go ahead and get your bird. I'll be at Home Depot picking up a fan.
Fans everywhere in my house. The big windmill fans that are out in the desert, just everywhere throughout the house. So stupid. It's not happening. Quit asking. Quit asking. It's not happening.
All right, we're on our Tier 1 tour. We're playing a little catch-up here. The Pittsburgh Pirates in the spotlight last season, 76-86. Not horrible. Fourth-place finish in the National League Central. And still never a team that feels like they're ready to
make the jump.
Though. I mean, some great players, obviously, and
man.
Brian Reynolds, Brian Hayes, Andrew McCutcheon still there. Veterans back again on another free agent deal with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Seems to belong in that uniform. I don't know how much production they can expect out of him at this point. You got Jack Sawinski is back as well. They added a couple of other pieces in Rowdy Tellez and Edward Olivares, former Padre, if I'm not mistaken, to their lineup. But it's not, quaking in your boots sort of thing. And O'Neal Cruz, obviously, leading off as the table setter for them is an exciting player to keep an eye on.
The projections for some of these guys are, they got O'Neal Cruz hitting 23 bombs, Brian Reynolds hitting 23, Sawinski hitting 23. Everybody in the starting lineup in double digits, Benny. Where it gets a little bit interesting is their starting pitching. Now, they got Mitch Keller at the top of their rotation. They just extended him. He's really,
beyond
really,
that,
really
though,
good.
it's we've done a few of these teams now, and this may be the most anonymous-looking rotation of all of them
Martin
so far.
Perez, Marco Gonzalez, Luis L. Ortiz, and Bailey Falter. And then the bullpen.
Luis L. Ortiz.
Yeah, Luis L. Ortiz. David Bednar at the back end of the bullpen. And your setup man is now Aroldis Chapman. They went out and spent, I think, $12 million on him. He'll be a Cardinal or something in July, whoever needs him.
Everyone said, they're going to sign him, and then they're going to trade him at the deadline.
Yep.
And they're not, because they're not going to be in contention again. It's just a rinse and repeat cycle for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
They have been under massive scrutiny in the offseason, talking about their owner, Bob Nutting. Their owner's name is Bob Nutting. And just the way that he runs the business is just not good. Think about how poorly they've finished, and think about how some of the draft picks they've had. Now they have absolutely hit on one in Paul Skeens, and he's a guy.
We think.
We think. Yeah, nobody's guaranteed, certainly, but he is a guy. He's a stud. He's a stud, and he is a pitcher. Thank you very much. Starting pitcher, and they're going to be working him through the minors, and it'll be interesting to see when he makes his debut. But he's a worker. He throws really hard. He is an electric pitcher. I would like to say that the future is bright in Pittsburgh, Benny, but it's kind of felt that it's been bright there for a few years. But I don't think they're going to be horrendous.
It's sad because I remember growing up that the Pittsburgh Pirates were usually a feared team in the National League, like a historic, respected franchise. But, honestly, like my kids' entire lives, the Pittsburgh Pirates have been the back end, the butt of the joke usually as a team, and they've never been able to really break out of that cycle with anything to really excite their fans in a while. A player or two here or there, and then they're gone. They got a beautiful ballpark that seems like it just goes to waste every year. That never gets to host a playoff game. It's kind of one of the sadder organizations to me in baseball right now.
Nobody in the chat says Skeens versus Jackson Holiday today at 10:05 a.m., by the way. That will be fantastic. Jackson Holiday expected to make the roster, I think, with the Baltimore Orioles. And Skeens on the bump for the Pirates. It's going to be fun to watch their progression. Two of the bright young stars in baseball. Two guys that I really like watching from what I've seen.
We said early in our show that we wanted some Tier 1 participation. I see Adam is calling in. I'm not sure why.
The Adam?
Not the Adam. We saw the Adam here, and he's going to join us for expense report talk in our final hour. Oh, no, he's gone
Just
now.
lost.
All right, cool. Very
good.
good.
Talk.
Sorry, Adam.
That's why we don't do that very often.
We got a lineup out if you're ready.
Yeah, I
You
would
wanna
love
do
the
that?
lineup. That was perfect. Good
Okay.
timing. Thank you. Thank you, Mike Schilt, for saving me there with the lineup.
Back in center field today, leading off, is Jackson Merrill playing shortstop.
He's our new center fielder.
I'd say so. Tyler Wade playing shortstop. Luis Campusano behind the dish in the 3-hole.
This is at the A's in Mesa, correct?
Correct.
Today? Yeah.
Designated hitter is Kyle Higashioka. In right field, local man Cal Mitchell. You got Eggy Rosario at third base. You got Graham Pauley at first base. You've got Johnson in left field. Who's that?
Bryce
Johnson.
I
and
believe.
then at second base, McCoy is Mason McCoy.
Mason.
And then on the bump is Pedro Avila and Sam Levitt, who we will be talking to when?
At 9 o'clock
9
now,
o'clock.
because Mike Schilt is doing his newser here in about 15 minutes, so we're going to get him after to see if there's any Schilty news this morning, and maybe he'll ask him, "You missed the guys now that they're gone."
They don't need to do that. That's fine. We got enough attention.
Yeah, this is one of those road lineups that
It's not bad. It's not terrible.
It's not entirely major league representative of the San Diego Padres in this game, but it's a long bus ride. It's the one that the veterans least like to take. The A's Park, which is the Cubs' old park at Hohokam, is literally the furthest one away from the Peoria Sports Complex. If there's traffic, you're looking at almost an hour on that drive, and maybe even more back. At 4 o'clock when it's rush hour coming in Phoenix. So you will defer to veterans generally and say, you don't have to make this bus ride and spend your entire day crossing Phoenix and back to play 5 innings of a game against the Oakland A's, who are barely a major league team to begin with.
Sammy Levitt tweeted about an hour ago, pitcher scheduled to appear today for the Padres against the A's. Pedro Avila, as we mentioned, the starter. Eniel De Los Santos, Logan Gillespie, Matt Festa, Adrian Morejon, Usuk Go, and Kevin Kopps.
Pitchers have a little less leeway when it comes to it because they got to get their work on the days that they're supposed to get their work, and this is the day that they're appearing in a Cactus League game. Then you got to get on the bus to Mesa, and you got to make the ride. So Pedro Avila will be out there. Eniel De Los Santos, I did not see his last appearance. He was... I'm trying to remember how he did in his first time out. I feel like he gave up a run maybe in his first relief appearance for the Padres, but
I feel like he did too.
Yeah, but a lot of guys are competing for those kind of 7th, 8th inning type roles, and I'm curious to see how that's going to kind of play out for Mike Schilt when we get to the season. All right, Paulie is going to, since Mike Schilt is going next, and then Sammy's going to bump back to 9, we'll bump up the Reindl Report and get some headlines from Paulie, who really didn't have a Reindl Report while we were busy out there in Peoria with all the guests.
I told him this morning I'm so ready for a Reindl Report, for anything other than, who's going to be in the lineup today and position battles. Like, I'm ready. My brain needs it.
We will take our detour to the Reindl Report. Coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I think we missed an opportunity. We may have to bring it back at some point, but my DMs are blowing up with bird stories. Many people have lots of bird horror.
Well, call it
stories.
now, 833-288-0973. You can get online during our Reindl Report, and we should have a few minutes on the back end here.
Sure.
If you have owned a pet bird and have maybe cautionary tales. If you just had a pet bird for 20 years,
and it was awesome,
great.
right?
I don't know if that's necessarily a radio-worthy story, but...
Will you tell your mom, if she's listening, that if there's a bird in my house, I'm coming to the Corona Cave and I'm going to live there until the bird is dead? It could be, from what I hear, they live 20, 30 years. So I could be like their Cato Kalin living in the Corona Cave at your parents' house where we used to broadcast during COVID.
You'll have to bequeath the bird to someone in your will because the bird lived for so long.
That's exactly right. So just so she knows and your dad knows.
I'll do a Larry David here. I deny the bequeath of the bird.
Yeah, 100%. I don't want a
so
bird.
If you have bird stories, please join us. 833-288-0973. We'll get to you right after Reindl Report, which comes right after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Couple of problems here, guys. Westbound 52 past Regents Road, overturned crash in the center divide. Got a couple vehicles involved in that. And stalled car on southbound 15 before Arrow Drive. That's in the center divide. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
Gentlemen, we will start off with something from the NFL here. So I think this has only happened a couple of times now, but the NFL Players Association, they released the results of their team report cards.
This was fascinating.
1,700 players were handed a survey, and the categories included family treatment, food and nutrition, training room and training staff, your locker room, team travel, head coach, and ownership.
Here's one thing I know. You can't be a championship organization unless you score highly
Gotta be
on the
A+.
behind the scenes stuff
Right?
that keep players happy, right?
Got to be A+.
Wrong. We'll get to that. Some surprises, and both good and bad. So we'll start at the top. The #1 top-ranked team, according to the Players Association, was the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
Stephen Ross, the league's highest-graded owner with a near-perfect score.
Wow.
State-of-the-art facilities, etc. They're followed by the
Peter
Vikings.
Seiler would have done very well in an owner's survey among players. I promise you that.
The Green Bay Packers, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, doesn't necessarily translate to being great on the field.
Correct.
But those are just the results from the Players Association. Then you scroll all the way down. We're going through the middle of the teams here. No surprises here one big surprise, but at number 30, the LA Chargers. There's only 32 teams. They came in at number 30.
Shocker.
The Chargers are close to finishing a new practice facility, and the hope is that once the new complex opens, grades will improve. The team's food ranks last in taste and freshness, and players would like to be more efficient during travel, which is not good. And then the worst rated team, absolutely no surprise here, the Washington Commanders.
But
even with new ownership.
The interesting part is the 31st ranked team.
Yeah. Who won the Super Bowl?
The freaking Kansas City Chiefs are at 31.
Now, they had the highest rated coach in the NFL,
Andy Reid. Yep.
And I can't really see any discretion there. That seems totally fair.
Sure.
But beyond that, players identify major issues in quality of care, out-of-date facilities, and owner Clark Hunt, who ranks as the least willing to invest among all owners.
So it just goes to show you that if you can get one thing right as an owner, it's hire the right coach, and you can do pretty much everything else wrong, and you'll still be okay.
Let's do Odyssey. What's the categories again?
Oh, let's see.
Their category.
Lay 'em on.
Treatment of families.
Good.
Fine.
A+.
Food cafeteria. It's
F.
D-. I mean, they have the...
Yeah, there's nothing in it.
It's pretty empty right now.
Yeah.
But sometimes, Michael brings bagels, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had that omelet day. I know that didn't go well for you, but I liked my omelet.
Mm-hmm. I got poisoned.
Nutritionist, dietitian.
F.
This is training room and staff. Would the equivalent be our engineer department?
Our engineer
That's an A.
department's
Is there an A?
That's an
A+.
A+.
Phenomenal.
Locker room. Well, I mean, we are getting a locker apparently.
We are.
finally,
There's
to put
a
our
locker out
stuff
there.
in. And
Yep.
we don't really have a locker room.
This would be kind of our locker room.
But you do. So weight
Good
room. We do have
facilities.
a gym downstairs that you use. I've never really used it.
Yeah, it's
other
pretty
than
good. I'd give it a C.
One unfortunate photo, so I'd give it probably more of a D.
Well, you never
training
used it.
staff. Would that be like Adam is our training staff?
Or would he be our head coach?
Oh,
I think he's our head
coach.
B+.
Ownership would be like Michael. And Odyssey.
Right.
A+.
You kiss ass. Yeah.
Anything else? Facilities? Like the
Facilities are
overall.
good. The studio's beautiful.
Studio's
it's
nice.
dirty, but I mean it's.
I love we got windows. We're on the 6th floor.
Yeah.
Most radio station compared to our last radio
my
station,
God.
which was a card table in a dank room.
Doo-doo on the carpets and stuff.
Carpets hadn't been
Windows.
cleaned in 30
They were like the
years.
Kansas City Chiefs of organizations. We're like the Miami Dolphins here.
Fair enough.
In our penthouse.
Yes.
Beautiful. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. We'll move on to the NBA. I'm just doing this because,
Oh.
Ben at least
He
stayed
came in.
awake for most of the
did.
drive home yesterday with me.
He
Woods
came
was
in.
asleep for most of the drive home.
He came in this morning just so hot and bothered about his beloved Lakers. Holy cow.
I had a bonding experience last night with my son, who is a Clippers fan. I am a Lakers fan, and we don't have a lot of opportunities to go head-to-head. He cheers for the Padres, cheers for most of the teams I do, but not in the basketball world. So we had a big game last night.
Lakers,
and he
Clippers.
was feeling very good for most of that game as the Clippers built a double-digit lead, extended it out to 21. I was thinking they're going to take out LeBron. This is going to turn into an absolute train wreck of a finish for the Lakers tonight, but that is not, Paulie.
No, not
What
quite.
happened?
The largest fourth quarter comeback in LeBron James's entire 21-year career. They were down 21 points in the fourth quarter yesterday, and LeBron single-handedly outscored the Clippers in the fourth quarter
was
alone.
Unbelievable. I mean, the guy is almost 40 years old, and he was looking like a 25-year-old out there.
The Clippers scored
dominating.
16 points in the fourth quarter. LeBron scored 19.
He was hitting, every three. He was getting into other guys. He was just running everything. It was as vintage. Like, it makes you wonder, because there's been speculation, like, LeBron, maybe one more season, he's going to retire. Looked like a guy who could play another 15 years in the NBA, the way he was playing last night.
Yeah.
He is a freak. He is one of the freakiest freaks that have ever played pro sports. The fact that he has been this good, this long, and can still do that against like a really good the Clippers team that's really good. They've got like championship aspirations.
How many finals has he been to? Like 9?
Oh, with all the teams?
Because that's that's like an extra
like
3
more years
months
than not.
of basketball.
More years
every
than
year.
not, he ends up in the NBA finals.
Right. So that's an extra 3 months of basketball every time he goes to the finals. Compared to teams that don't make the playoffs, he's like added like an extra like 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, he's already scored the most points in the regular season in NBA history, plus all the playoff mileage that he's got on him. You would have thought he would have broken down years ago, but he still goes.
All right, that's
Woods is fascinated by this
I'm
conversation.
sure Dave Roberts is elated.
All right, and then finally, just got some news you can use here on Leap Day. We talked about it earlier in the show. It is Leap Day. February 29th, happens every 4 years, and some fast food restaurants are offering some deals today.
Ooh.
We'll start with our beloved Mike Schilt's favorite place, Chipotle. They're offering
That's our skipper.
free
Everybody.
guacamole today.
Free guac.
They love
Okay.
the free guacamole bit on special days, don't they?
Yeah, they
No
do.
special reason other than it's Leap Day. Free guacamole with your order.
You guys say
Taco Bell.
guacamole or guacamole?
Guacamole.
You say guacamole?
Who says guacamole?
I think people that know how to say guacamole.
I know, but we're American. It's guac. What?
Yeah, they go,
you
guac.
shorten it to guac. You can't
Guac.
shorten it to. I'm gonna have some guac.
Guac.
If you are
Blake Snell guacked a lot of batters last year.
Well, he didn't guac a lot of batters. Taco Bell is offering a Crunch Wrap for $2.29. You have to use their app.
Is that a good deal?
You got to be a
I
rewards
haven't
member.
Yeah,
purchased a Crunch Wrap in a while.
That's probably a good
Probably.
deal.
Feels like the right price for a Crunch Wrap,
Yeah.
but
Get it?
that's fine. I know there's been some
$2.29.
inflation.
Yeah.
7-Eleven is offering customers any combination of 5 wings for that same price of $2.29.
Okay.
Wings at 7-Eleven.
Hooters is offering their loyalty members
Ben.
appetizers.
Are you
certain
a
appetizers.
loyalty member? at
Certain
Hooters?
appetizers.
Just a select appetizers. Not the
Not
whole
the
menu.
wings, though. They're seeding that to 7-Eleven today.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Is it potato skins? Is it mozzarella sticks? What are we talking about here? There's
I'll
a big
find out
difference.
and let you know. Are you planning on going to Hooters?
No,
today?
Yeah. Were you
I
heading to
didn't think
Hooters
so.
anyway?
So
then
shut up.
relax. Good
Krispy
God.
Kreme is
Hooter.
offering, if you were born, if you're a leap baby and born on February 29th, then you can get a free donut.
So there's a 1. Okay, so there's a 1 in 365 chance that you're born on any given day of the year, but multiply that by 4. Great offer. You got 1 in out of every 1,200 people in the world that is born on
Getting
a leap
free
year
donut.
day.
Wendy's is offering free Cinnabon pull-aparts.
Speaking
today.
of Wendy's, you guys, we were at spring training and we missed the whole Wendy's hubbub. Did you see what happened?
Surge pricing.
Surge
Wendy's?
pricing.
Yeah.
And
I
they
saw
denied
something
it.
about
They
that.
denied
They've been
it.
bullied out of it. They were gonna do it.
Like an Uber.
Then they like what's the surge like at lunchtime? The surge
Apparently,
like
like there's a line at Wendy's. Your burger's now $9.
you're like it just went up.
If you go at like 3:30 in the afternoon, no one's there. 99 cents.
Crazy. A restaurant doing surge pricing.
This is going to happen more often. It's due to AI. That you can have algorithms that are going to maximize the way that every company can make more money, because they'll figure out, people will pay a little bit more at these times, so you better start charging them more at
flex
these times.
pricing so much.
Yeah, the surge pricing.
I mean,
for an
sports
Uber.
teams do it. Obviously,
Yeah, it sucks.
Used to be back in the day. A ticket cost what a ticket costs. Hey, it's $27 for a field level ticket for a Padres game. Didn't matter if the Yankees were in town or the Dodgers were in town or if it was a Saturday or a Tuesday. That's simply what that seat costs. Now, of course,
Row 69, section 100 should cost whatever it costs, regardless of who's playing.
now,
But
of
that's
course,
not how it
teams have
happens.
gotten wise that people will pay much more for certain opponents and certain dates and giveaway days. So tickets are then priced accordingly, much bigger. And other days, it's a Wednesday night, there's no giveaway. The Oakland A's are in town. They will charge less on their prices because they're trying to maximize their revenue. Why wouldn't a fast food joint think, hey, we can get in on this too? At the same time, we charge more when it's busy. We got captive customers. That's the way it goes.
Netflix is raising their prices again. I gotta bang it. I have to. I'm gonna take a stand.
Not going to be able to watch Love Is Blind.
I'm like I'm really, you know how I feel about shows like that, but man, I feel like I'm missing out on this.
Yeah, you are.
I feel like
I don't know if it's good or if it's so bad that it's good.
So is it blind people?
No. They start off in pods. Men live on one side, women live on one side. I think it's like 2 weeks.
Are they on an island?
No, they're in like a warehouse type living situation.
A warehouse.
And you go into a pod and you are talking to a potential mate through a wall.
So it's like what was the old game? Was it the dating game where you couldn't see them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they're
Similar
behind
to
the
that.
screen
You
on the
get
other
to know
side.
them, and you can schedule like, hey, I'd love to talk to you again tomorrow. And it's like blind dates. And then you develop connections. And the way out to successfully move on is you have to get engaged to somebody sight unseen.
Engaged, sight unseen. Come on.
This is the exact opposite of there's the British show on HBO Go called Naked Attraction,
Right.
which they meet completely naked
That's
for the
from
first
the head
time.
down.
Yeah, you just all you see is you see
body. You only see body.
You see their
Yeah.
entire naked body first before you make a decision on who you want to date. And they show everything on it because it's HBO. So
Have you seen this?
I saw it once. Yeah,
How was
Naked
it?
Attraction.
How did the people look? They look like us. Or they look like attractive.
They're
people?
mostly attractive
Oh, okay.
people. Yeah, I mean, shocker that they thought the ratings might be better if we get some attractive people.
Can you imagine
But sometimes it's the girl picking from a bunch of, they start like waist down and then slowly like come up higher, and she eliminates one just based on
each round or
based on what's below the waist. Like, oh, we got 4. Don't like the look of his.
So if he's chilling,
thing, it's like you're out. Like, and then they'll show the rest of him.
That poor guy is like,
the rest of them was pretty attractive. God, I wish I had seen the top first, but now you're out. You're eliminated. I already got rid of you.
I mean, and that's unfair too, because like there's good days and there's bad days, and if they catch you on a bad day, you're like, this is not indicative of what it normally is. You should see it in the morning on a Sunday.
But it's the only day you're on TV, probably. So
and
you
you're
hope
on
it's a good
TV.
day.
You're on TV, so you're nervous. I mean, it's just not. It's not a fair thing. Like, I'll send you a picture when it's good. Like when it's like, hey, this is.
You got one chance to make a first impression.
This is what it could be. This is what we're working with here. I can't even imagine. All right, take your clothes off, and you're just standing there. Like,
you can't say anything. It's silent.
It's silent
until the end.
So Love Is Blind. I feel like my wife is so into it.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I watch it, I think that she'll want to make sex with me more if I can like engage in it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Give it a shot.
Like if I'm like, oh my God, you're right. Dan is a real a-hole. You know what I mean? Because she's so into it. So into it.
It's like any of these reality dating shows where the production that goes into it, the teases, you're like, well, crap, I gotta see what happens
here
now. Like I'm invested now. Okay, it's good. I like it.
Anthony says everyone on Love Is Blind this season is like a 4 out of 10. I did see one thing that happened. 2 women both said they look like Megan Fox
one
or
woman
something.
Said she said that her celebrity lookalike that people tell her is Megan Fox, and let's just say I didn't see it.
I saw the side. I was like,
I wasn't
dude,
seeing it.
Come on.
Be like, people tell me I look like Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, exactly. People everywhere stop me. Are you Bradley Cooper? All right, I'm gonna have to check it out.
All right, we'll come back there. We did get some bird stories in our chat, and then we've got Sammy Levitt's going to join us coming up as well. Final hour of Ben and Woods on the way. Don't go away. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. You are not going to believe
I'm about to blow
what
your
you are
freaking
about
minds.
to see in just a moment here on our YouTube chat. It's Ben and Woods' final hour here on 97.3 The Fan. Still waiting on Mike Schultz. Sammy is at the Peoria Sports Complex. Maybe some big happenings going, more than likely. He's just been running behind the last couple of days.
Busy man, dude.
He's a busy man. He's got a lot to do. He's detail-oriented, which means there's a lot to take care of every single day.
Wouldn't, if you're... You see the irony in that statement.
I do.
I was wondering if you caught it.
Well, sometimes people would say being on time is the biggest detail of them all.
You know, it's my number one bugaboo.
But if you want to be thorough and get everything finished as well, sometimes you've got to take a little extra time on certain things.
So I, during the commercial break there, I just got a text message from somebody over at the Padres spring training facility.
This is pretty awesome.
And so it's no surprise if you were with us over the last 3 days, we brought out a good handful of Ben and Woods t-shirts right off the merch store. We bought them.
Butter soft.
Paid
for them ourselves.
Jackson Merrill showed up to his interview in it.
Very cool.
Left it at his locker and he goes, oh, crap.
Yeah, we literally have to buy our own merch.
Correct.
Yeah. And
we make like $5 on the money that we spent. So we spend like whatever, 25 to make 5. It's very good business. Very
great. You know, we gave one to Crony. We gave one to Manny.
Yep.
Joe goes, oh, I've been meaning to get one. I'm like, you don't have to lie to us. But
don't lie to me. You lie to girls.
One person that we didn't have on the show, we mentioned him earlier. We didn't see him the first 2 days, and we saw him. He walked by yesterday when Manny was talking with us, was Yu Darvish. And we've heard that Yu Darvish actually listens to Ben and Woods. He's a tier 1.
We have heard that he has listened to the show, and he likes our show, which makes me very happy.
Unfortunately, by the time we went to go get him a T-shirt, the Padres clubhouse was closed. And as we reminded Woodsy many times, it's not fantasy camp. You can't just walk in there.
I did a few times.
You can't do that.
I did.
You can't do
Woods
that.
went in and stole a Gatorade when he was feeling nauseous yesterday.
Someone in the chat said, get some electrolytes in you.
You owe the organization like $1.29 or something.
I go, Paulie, go look. And is there any? He goes, no, you're good. And so I walked in, I looked around, I ran up. It comes out the fountain Gatorade.
Oh, they got fountain Gatorade.
Yeah, it's fountain Gatorade. And I had to sucked it
Probably
down.
less expensive that way.
Probably, yeah. It's the powder or whatever. But
so
I did go in there. I do apologize.
Clubhouse was closed, but I did grab a T-shirt, and I said to somebody that had access to the clubhouse, hey, I know the guys are on the field. Can you go put this in Yu Darvish's locker, please? Like, we wanted to make sure that he got one. And that was about 24 hours ago. Flash forward to now, the picture that I just received. If you're on YouTube, you're about to see it. How about Yu Darvish rocking the Ben and Woods
he looks
T-shirt?
good in it. He looks very good in the Ben and Woods gear.
That is awesome.
That's really cool.
Very nice.
One of our favorites.
Thank you.
Thank you, you. That's really cool.
Repping the Ben and Woods gear. He's done a world of good for the pitching ninja gear, which he has often repped, but now he's got an alternative.
So dope, dude. What a dream. That is so freaking cool,
Love that, man.
I love that. Love it. It makes me so happy. It's so surreal.
It's like weird.
It's so surreal. Anyway.
All right, so
never take it for granted.
Our YouTube chat is filled with celebrity lookalikes and birds right now.
I got a great one. Guy DM me, Evan DM me, said, true story. I taught my mom's parrot to say, want to get high? I put a tape recorder on repeat for 6 hours while I was in high school. Want to get high? Want to get high? Want to get high? Maybe I'm coming around to the idea of getting a bird just to troll my wife and
Does
kids.
your dislike for birds overcome your like of bits?
I love
bits.
Use the birds I
to do
love
the bits.
Wonder if I would get like way into it and start bringing them around on my shoulder, because I've seen people out and about walking around with birds on their shoulder. Man, if you guys have any cautionary tales, my wife really, she really wants one, and the kids would love it. But I got to put my foot down somewhere, man. I do. They scare me a little bit. And also, like, I'd be afraid of it getting out. I'd also be afraid of the cats eating it. There's so much. And mostly, let's be honest, it's about the noise. I don't want any extra noise in my already noisy house. Excuse me. So there you go.
I mean, we've had. So I'm trying to go back because I saw a few more stories of bird owners who had some cautionary tales of the past. One taught his bird to say his name, but then it was constant, like all day
long.
All day long. And
Mike,
at some point,
Mike.
Roberto says, we had a parrot when I was a kid. I got yelled at all the time. Oh, I got yelled at all the time, but the parrot heard my name so much, after a while, it yelled it all day long as well.
What a nightmare.
Roberto, clean your room. Roberto,
And like
Roberto,
I think it would scare the crap out of me after a while, but no, I can't it can't happen, man. I got to I would do another cat, I would do another dog. No reptiles, no turtles, no gerbils, no any sort of rodents of any kind. I gotta make some sort of hardline stance on this. What pets did you have growing up? We never had a pet. I never had a pet growing up till I went out on my own. Never. Not a cat, not a dog, not a bird, not a snake, not a jerk. Never. My parents both don't like cats or dogs.
I had a dog, and then for like less than a week, I had a turtle.
Okay.
I had a turtle.
Stank.
Yeah.
You had a turtle. What was his name?
Yertle.
Yertle the turtle?
Yeah. Did you not read that book?
No, I didn't. I never heard of that.
You haven't heard of Yertle the turtle?
No, so you stole the name from
a book, children's book.
Okay,
Yeah,
I never heard of that.
Yertle the turtle. Everyone's heard of Yertle the turtle.
I swear I've not heard of Yertle the turtle. You had it. How long did you have it for?
Not long.
Did it
got
die?
some sort of disease and died. Reptiles are harder to keep healthy, I think.
Yeah.
You can't really touch them.
Can you not?
Well, I think that they
You're
don't
not
do well
supposed
with
to.
human bacteria and germs.
We also have a fish, so we have many.
Yeah.
Hasang swim. We have many pets. Yeah. I told you that. You didn't know that?
Swim, no.
Hasang swim. Yeah.
I don't think I ever got the Hasang swim.
One of our tier ones named it. Yeah, Jeff said the turtle died from listening to your shtick. your bad jokes. You laughing after your jokes. The turtle's like, I'm done. I'm out.
We had a couple of dogs that ran away, and I only found out recently that were eaten by coyotes, unfortunately, because we lived in Olivenhain growing up, which is
Coyote Central.
Coyote Central in San Diego,
man.
especially back in the day before there was even that much development. It was the country. We were essentially this close to being like farmland. We had citrus trees. We had an orchard. We were almost on a farm.
My wife grew up there too, and likes to say that she grew up in the country. Clearly, you two have never been to the country. If you think Olivenhain is the country,
nowadays it's
trust
not.
me.
But trust me. When I was little,
there might have been
there
might have been some trees and stuff around. But you've never been to the country till you've been to East Texas.
The road connecting Encinitas to San Marcos was a dirt road at that time. It was a dirt road.
The fact that it's Encinitas means it's not the country.
It's now 6 lanes to get from Encinitas to San Elijo Hills. I mean, it was a dirt
Look at her.
road.
She's in the chat. We lived on a dirt road, dude. She just said. So what? It's not the country. It's Encinitas.
Lone Jack, dirt roads out there.
How
at
many
the time.
square feet was your house? 9,000? That's not the country. You did not live in the country.
Farmhouses in the country.
Give me
farmhouses are gigantic, and then there's barns that are even bigger. What are you talking about? There's plenty of square acreage in the country.
That is not country. Just because my wife had animals doesn't mean you're a farmer.
I saw the ranch, the 10 News Ranch that Lauren and Carol. It was a farm. It was essentially a farm.
It drives me bananas. Bananas. That's not the country.
Now it isn't. Now it's not. Now it's full on suburbs. Back then it was pretty country.
It's not.
I had to pick the fruit trees and the avocado trees when I was little.
That's a luxury. That's fantastic. It wasn't. You didn't have to do it to survive for your harvest.
No,
that's the
I would
country.
sometimes sell avocados. I told you, out on the street to Mexican food restaurants.
So good.
They love 5 avocados for $1 was a great deal even back then.
Michael says, "Oh, multi-million-dollar homes. Should I get you a spittoon?" It's not country.
I think we had a spittoon. It was more of a decorative spittoon, but I'm pretty sure we had one in our house.
It's not the country, for the love of God.
It's like one of those big gold pots,
I know what it is.
I'm asking what it is. What it looks like.
Die on this hill. I will die on it. I will. We argue about it all the time. Well, we grew up on a farm. You didn't. You did not grow up on a farm. Okay? You might
do we
have had
any
animals and
barnyard
stuff?
animals?
It
No,
was
we had no cows.
built in the colonial days, and we had a lot of pets. So
No, our house was built in 1977.
you didn't tell me about your cat milking days in
It
Motown.
wasn't colonial, but
Oh, it's so good, dude. Oh, it's fantastic. All right, so what's next for us? We were waiting for Sammy Levitt to get finished with Mike Schilt, who's talking.
We may just end up catching up with Sammy tomorrow.
Okay, that's fine. Heather says I'm wrong on this. I'm really not. I'm from Texas. I know what the country is. Alevenhain
It's German.
is not the country.
German for olive grove, as Hannah points out.
It is not country.
We got the meeting hall. We did the Beer and Brat Festival every year to honor our German ancestors.
Can I be honest? You guys were cosplaying living in the country. That's what you were doing. It's exactly what you were doing. I can buy boots and a cowboy hat and call myself a cowboy.
There was a touch of that.
Yes,
sure.
I'm not a cowboy. You're not a cowboy. You're not a farmer or a rancher. You cosplay farmers and ranchers. That's what they did. That's what her dad did. That's what she did. That's what they did. It's a cosplay. It's like, hey, this is fun. That's not the country. It's not.
It's country adjacent.
It's fine. It's country adjacent. Clowns. Oh, man.
All right, let's. Can we just take a time out here, Paulie? All right, we'll take a time out. We've got another Tier 1 tour stop coming up here. We're going to switch over to the American League Central, take a look at the Cleveland Guardians for a couple of minutes. Adam's supposed to come in and discuss our expenses from the trip as well. We just decided let's do that. Let's do that on the air, just so there's no confusion. If there's ever any disputes, we can go to the disputes. We can go to the YouTube chat, and we can have our Tier 1s decide on what sounds fair and not fair from our charges in Peoria over the last 3 days. So we'll get
There's
that out
only
of the
one
open.
I'm worried about, and I need you to explain it to him because I can't do it. Me and him will get in a fist fight.
Fair enough. All coming up with Ben and Woods. We'll check traffic. Be back with more here on 97.3 The Fan. Don't go away. We're very divisive on this show. We have now divided San Diego on what is country and what is not country. I mean, Poway, East County, North County, it's a real thing out there. It's Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. Mike Schilt, has he wrapped up now? He has finished his daily conversation with the media. So let's go out to the Peoria Sports Complex. We were in person with him the last 3 days. He now joins us. All of his coverage brought to you by the San Diego County Toyota Dealers Association. We make it easy. It is Sam Levitt here on 97.3 The Fan. Sammy, good morning.
Good morning. Hope you guys had a nice drive back to San Diego from Arizona. I'm missing you here already.
Miss you too, Sammy.
It was restive for two of us.
Yeah. Ben and I got our rest. MV Paul over there drove us all the way in. Thank God for him.
Sammy, have you seen you Darvish this morning?
Oh, did you see you?
Have I seen you Darvish this morning? I did, inside the clubhouse. Why?
He's repping a Ben and Wood shirt today, a very surreal moment for us.
Is
very
he?
Cool. Yeah, very.
Is he?
Very
Now,
cool. Very cool.
Now, hold on a second, because I saw him earlier, and he was not wearing a Ben and Wood
Well, maybe
shirt.
he hadn't put it on yet, but he has it on now.
He's got it on now.
Now,
That's not photoshopped,
it's
I promise
interesting. What's interesting about this is that now I'm thinking, in jogging my memory, I think I saw a Ben and Wood shirt on his chair this morning, and it didn't click to me. I didn't, there's so much Ben and Woods merchandise being passed around right now that it didn't even affect me. I didn't even kind of look twice at it. But now that I think about it, I think there was a Ben and Wood shirt on his chair this morning.
Yeah, we're no dummies.
But he was not wearing it yet. So how about that?
Pretty
Very
cool.
nice.
Very, very cool. A really weird, surreal moment. Is awesome. And so let's talk about today's game. Listen, spring training. We want to blow things up a little bit more than we should, but I think it's fair to say this is a pretty big start for Pedro Avila today.
Yeah, I think that would be accurate for a couple of reasons. Number one, his first one was not very good, at least by the results. And we know with spring training that you have to take everything with a grain of salt, and guys are working on stuff. But we also know that with somebody like Pedro Avila, the results are important because he's battling for a spot. And that's why this second start is really important for him. You would like to see him be more effective because he is battling for either a spot in the rotation or certainly could be a spot in this bullpen as well. So, again, you don't want to make too much out of spring training stats. I think we all understand that, but there are scenarios where they do matter, and it would appear that this would be one of them. And on top of that, the reality is this, guys, they leave for Korea in less than 2 weeks. So it is getting late very quickly here in the Padres Cactus League season. Obviously, as far as a starter spot, they don't necessarily have to decide anything by the time they leave for Korea, but the opportunity to pitch in Cactus League games and throw every 5 days in real competitive games, that would seemingly start to dwindle once the Cactus League for the Padres is over. So for all those reasons, yes, a big start for Pedro Avila, and we'll see how he does.
Sammy, it feels like the Brett Sullivan momentum is real, and maybe that's a little bit just because we talked to him and we enjoyed having him on, but he goes out and has a big game yesterday. Did Mike Schilt discuss kind of the various options that are in place for Brett Sullivan?
Yeah, yesterday after the game, he didn't necessarily discuss the options. I mean, he has talked about it before, that obviously it's a good thing with Brett Sullivan, his ability to potentially play in other spots. And as you guys talked to him, I think about yesterday, he came up, as somebody who could play different spots and not a full-time catcher. So, look, yesterday, step in the right direction. I mean, he had a hard-hit triple into the right field corner, and he had a hard-hit home run, a 2-run shot over the right field fence. And there's no doubt that having those moments is important for him. So I think it is definitely on the radar right now. The idea that this team could carry 3 catchers, the idea that Brett Sullivan could contribute as somebody who could play in some different spots if he can hang there defensively. And of course, you look at the roster, you look at the lineup, the fact that he's a left-handed bat has to play some part of that as well. So definitely yesterday, a good day for Brett Sullivan. And apparently you go on Ben and Woods, you have a good day at the plate. So hopefully a sign for others to join.
Yeah, I'd like to keep that trend going. Certainly, talking to our pal, Spring Training Sammy. Had a great time. Sunscreen Sammy as well. Thank you for hooking us up with sunscreen out there because we were very unprepared. We were very unprepared this year. We have learned our lesson. Sammy, what else did the skipper have to say in his daily press conference today?
Yeah, a few notes to get to here. Tim LeCastro inside the clubhouse today. The plan for him continues to be, sounds like he'll play tomorrow in a Cactus League game. Wait, what's today? Is today Thursday?
Today's Thursday,
right? Okay. Yes, tomorrow. Tomorrow in a Cactus League game. He'll work out today, took some live ABs. And look, one thing I asked Mike Schultz about was somebody like LeCastro, who you would imagine has a decent chance of making this team with the way the roster looks right now. How do you balance getting him sort of up to speed as far as at-bats, as far as playing time with the other guys, and the fact that you have a lot of guys in that outfield right now that you need to get innings out there, right? And look, they're going to continue to try to balance it the best they can, but LeCastro, it does sound like, will play in a game tomorrow. Usako is a go today on the mound, so he'll make his Padres Cactus League debut. Mike Schultz talked a little bit about the process of him getting here, joining the organization, getting acclimated, noted, and I have to look this up exactly, but, noted that he pitched deeper into his season than anybody else. So it's just been, and I think I've talked to you guys about this before, sort of a ramp-up process for Go to get him ready to pitch in a Cactus League game, but he will be on the mound today against the A's in Mesa. Also, a couple of other notes. I don't know if you guys mentioned this at all. It does seem, based on a tweet, like Luis Patino is on his way, so he may be arriving sooner rather than later, which would be a good thing. Not really clear on, how he would potentially be affected with the fact that he just hasn't been here yet, and obviously they leave in 2 weeks. But on top of that, you have a pretty crowded bullpen right now. But that should be notable when he arrives, obviously. And that was about it. I mean, some talk about Jacob Marcy and Graham Pauley. And one thing I asked Mike Schultz about today, and I think it's important to note once again with Pauley starting at first base today, is how much of a factor will that play into somebody like Pauley's ability to make this roster? Because as we've noted, he's never played first base in college, didn't play there at all in the minor leagues, but I think by my count, this is the third start he's made at first base. So I did ask how much of a factor, if he can handle himself over there, will that be in his ability to make a roster potentially? And look, I think him being versatile is clearly a benefit to him, and that would give him some added value, along with the fact that he's, a bit of an advanced college hitter and he's a left-handed bat. So I continue to monitor that Pauley at first base situation, because you look at the options aside from Jay Cronenworth and they're really not there, so the idea that they keep putting Pauley there and they're really trying to get him reps there, to me, it says something, and I think it's something to continue to monitor, and he's back there today.
He's Sammy Spring Training. Sammy, I absolve you from having to go to Mesa and the A's game today with that lineup. We'll get a report from Jesse maybe on the webcast later today, but why don't you take the afternoon off?
Yes. Do that.
Well, in fact, I am not going. I'm not going now. I would usually go, but I'm not going for two reasons. Number one, I've got something scheduled at noon here to record, so that kind of takes me out of making the long trip to get there late to the game. And my dad's in town.
Yeah,
so
we missed
Mr. Lovett.
So, so good reason not to go today. But yes, I'm not going today, so I'm going to skip this one.
We should bring our dads next year.
Oh my God, my dad would love
Gary,
it.
Steve, have them both come by.
They would
I mean, the
love
Prellers, the Mr. and Mrs. Preller were there.
Yep, they were.
Saw them
Sammy,
a
can I
couple of
bring your
times.
dad?
You don't have a dad.
Remember, you don't have a dad, Paul. Thanks, Sammy.
All right, see you guys.
Sammy just rubbing it in
Makes me
to Paul
so-
again. Just rubbing
Hey,
it
Paulie,
in.
guess what? My dad's here. You'll never know what that's like. Jesus God.
But you do
It
know...
makes me so uncomfortable when he does that.
I know.
It kills me.
Can you just fire up the Tier 1 tour bus for a minute
Are we
or
doing
two
this
here?
again?
Yeah,
Oh,
we're doing it
God,
again.
all right.
We're fully caught up after this.
It's the Cleveland Guardians.
We're switching
you don't
over
have
to
a
the
Guardian, Paul. So
That's not true. I had a Guardian.
Tune out for
Just not a
this.
male Guardian.
Tune out for this segment.
We switch over from the National League Central. We did the Pirates earlier to a team that also went 76-86 last year. They finished third in the American League Central. They also play in a eminently winnable division. But the Guardians, who were a team that were perennial playoff contenders and participants for many years, seem to have taken a bit of a step back. And when you look at what is projected as their opening day lineup and roster, it's not filled with the level of talent that they used to have on this team anymore, in my opinion.
It is. We watched them the other day at spring training, and they're a fairly boring team. Now, you got Shane Bieber at the top of the rotation. You got Tristan McKenzie is interesting. Old friend Logan Allen. No, is he the? It's not the Logan Allen.
It's
that was
it's the other
it's
Logan
the other
Allen, I believe.
That guy was a catcher, I think.
He also we sent to the Guardians, but then to just confuse everyone, they replaced
him with a
Logan Allen with a substitute Logan Allen.
Emmanuel Clase is their closer. He is really good.
He is really good.
Now they got Scott Barlow in a trade from the San Diego Padres. He's going to be their setup man type situation. They've got decent-ish pitching, which could keep them in it, Ben, but the lineup, you look at it and just go, I don't know where they're going to get the production from other than the great Jose Ramirez, the great Jose Ramirez.
They have a star. They have a bona fide superstar in the middle of their lineup. Just not a ton of depth beyond that. I mean, they did spend $4 million on a backup catcher who can't hit.
And Austin Hedges.
To bring him back. And Austin Hedges will serve in that role for them this season. But, I mean, to me, this looks like another sub-500 season for the Cleveland Guardians. The only hope being is that they play in such a down division that if they do have, win a bunch of close games and hover around 500, they could actually stay in a division race a little bit later in the year. But don't think that's in the cards for the Guardians this year.
Yeah, same. I don't expect much from them. And I do expect there to be some moves probably at mid-season for, Bieber is a guy that was on the block, I guess, this year in the offseason. So we'll see if anybody actually makes it through the entire season. Some of the guys. Clase was another guy that was mentioned as potentially on the board. I mean, he's going to help some team. Rotation actually looks fairly decent, but we'll see.
This hour of Ben and Woods is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog. Adam is pacing back and forth on his phone. I don't know if he's talking with
he's with corporate,
like on a strategy here. They're going to pin
it's been like 15 minutes.
They're going to pin me down on their expenses. What do I say? What do I do? What can I authorize? What can't I? Yeah. We will discuss what we spent at spring training over the last 3 days, including Woods' major, nearly $1,000 charge.
It's come down a little bit. It's come down.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Coming up next with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Goes, ooh, nice. Just like that. Like he was so happy to hear.
It made us laugh
I
so
was genuinely
hard.
happy.
I know you were. Think you were alone.
Nostalgia. Now. It's your youth, you know.
What were you? What memories did it bring back? Sitting home watching reading TV Guide.
I have no
listening
idea.
To
it was just you go, ooh, nice.
Ooh, nice.
It's a song that makes me happy. Isn't that what good music does?
It does.
Makes me happy.
It laid.
You like songs that make you sad and reflective and introspective. I mostly like songs that make me happy. Happy guy.
There it is. Look at it.
All right. No one ever gets happy discussing expenses.
Especially Adam Klug.
Usually this is something that happens, behind the scenes after the show. But we thought, let's bring the process out into the open so there's no confusion or recriminations.
So the reason I did it was my idea because all right, let's go to traffic for Christ's sake. Go ahead.
Thank you for that.
God.
Lovely toss.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Wrapping up our morning drive with just one accident westbound 8 past the 15 car and a commercial vehicle in the center divide. Keep in mind on the westbound 78, they've got a sweeper coming through from San Marcos Boulevard to Broadway. So it's going to be down to one lane till about 11:30 this morning. That is westbound 78 from San Marcos Boulevard to Broadway. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, so I'm not too worried about the regular expenses, right? The lunches or whatever. What I'm really
61.61 for gas at Love's in Gila Bend, Arizona.
That's going to get
seems
pushed.
like a no-brainer, right, Adam?
It's going to get pushed
Adam
right
Klug
through.
is here.
Hi, guys.
You're the first in the chain of expense approvals at Odyssey.
Yeah.
Before we get into expenses, can I just say awesome job
Thank
out in
you.
Peoria? You guys
Thank you.
killed it.
We had a lot of fun doing
He's
it.
breading us.
He is
Yeah.
bread meat
And
breading us.
I get it. We're not Apple. This company is not made of money. So I understand that
I may have heard something about that.
being responsible with our finances as we emerge from all those chapters after 10, whatever it is, 11. We're good now, but you want to be careful with the funds so we don't get into trouble again in the future.
Correct.
So I understand that.
As do I.
Is the big boss Michael in the chat right now?
He might be.
I would expect him to be at this point. He's monitoring everything. He's like the next level of approval. Then there's another level of approval. I mean, they are really careful when it comes to these expenses.
But you're right. Yes, I'm the first person to approve it, and then it gets
First
sent up
line
the
of
chain.
defense.
It's the fine-tooth comb that concerns me.
All right, shall we go through some simple ones?
No, because we know what the simple ones.
Well,
I
I've
have
got a list here. I've got some notes here.
Okay. I've got one question and one question only.
Go for it.
And what I said to Ben. So the big story when we were out at spring training, other than the fact that, just for the
I know
record,
where you're going.
we almost died on
I
the
know where
way.
you're going
That's
with
a true
this.
story. So we get to the Airbnb, in case you missed this story, we get to the Airbnb, and we walk in, and there's laundry, the sheets, the towels. The cleaning crew just never showed on the day we were supposed to check in. So immediately, my first thought was...
It's 8 o'clock at night.
8 o'clock at night. So I'm. By the way, we push that back an hour every time we tell the story. I think it was 7 when we told it the first time. It's 8
I can't
now.
believe you guys got there at 1 o'clock in the morning.
I know, it's amazing. So my first thought when we got there was, oh man, well, we're here, so I put a load of laundry in, and so we're just have to grind through this.
And he does the short cycle, and it goes, it's just going to be 45 minutes just to wash.
Just
the
to wash.
first set. And we're going to have to wash at least
all 3 loads.
And it's probably 2 for each bed because there's the sheets and the comforter,
And the
they don't all
towels.
fit in the towel. So we're looking at 5 or 6 loads of laundry, which is 45 minutes per wash, and then usually almost an hour for the dry.
At least.
It's like, okay,
By the time it'd be ready, it'd be time for the show.
That's
You
exactly
arrive
right.
at 1
It's
o'clock
going to
in
be
the
all
morning.
night. It's going to be all night.
So
you're on board with us pulling the plug. We had to go get a hotel.
Absolutely. You guys did the right thing. You
Okay.
guys did what I would have done.
Okay. So we pulled the plug.
Michael, on the other hand.
Yeah, Michael's not too happy, I bet. So here's what we did. We went to Hampton. So that number I gave you guys originally, about $1,000, has come down because what I didn't realize, they charge us $50 a person for deposit, which I got back. So for each room is $258.47. When we called the owner of the Airbnb, Don, and we said, Don, Ron, God, I keep calling him Don. Ron, this is what happened. In the car, he was like, oh, I told guys, do what you have to do. I'll get the room, and I'll refund you a half day on the Airbnb. And we're like, all right, whatever. We're
half day.
We're tired, whatever. So we go and we check in the hotel again. $258.47 times 3. I put it on my card. It's right here, so you can see it. And And then we went to bed, got up, went and did the show, and then went to the Airbnb, and everything was reasonably fine after that. So then Paulie goes, hey, man, I'm just going to give you his number. And so I text him. I said, hey, man.
Because the Airbnb was booked with Adam's corporate card.
Right.
The hotel was booked on your personal card. So I said, I don't need to be a part of this reimbursement.
Yep. So he said in a text back to me, yeah, I refunded a full day of the Airbnb, which was about what, $288?
Yeah.
So $288 he said he would cover. Thought that was fair.
Barely more than one of the hotel rooms. That was a good deal that we were getting at that Airbnb.
That's why we were in the Airbnb in the first place instead of three.
Yeah, three rooms. Which
exactly.
It gets very pricey with three separate rooms. Which
you guys are doing us a favor by staying in the lavish Airbnb with the pool and the putting green. And
the lavish Airbnb,
the one that had a code violation on the door when we got there because they haven't been maintained up to the neighborhood's would have to be incredibly low standards to begin with in that neighborhood.
I guess it turns out it isn't so easy to pick an Airbnb after all.
The crack houses were mad at our house for like dragging down property values.
Yes.
I feel vindicated from all the years and years ago when I picked a bad place for you guys.
Well, that was just far. It was just far and dumpy. So anyway,
it's not that easy.
So here's the deal. He's going to cover that day. So will you explain it to him so he doesn't yell at me?
All right, so you've saved $288 off the top that were already going to be part of the expenses that we already knew about going in.
Right, it's coming out of my pocket.
Well, Odyssey has saved that. Okay. So that $288 that was going to be paid goes to Woods now to offset some of the hotel expenses.
How though?
Just by approving your expenses,
right?
As much as we can here. Also, what Don sends, has he sent anything yet?
No, he's not sending it to me directly. He already handled it through Airbnb.
I was told it was supposed to go back on the card that the place was booked on, so it goes back to my
It'll go back
card.
on your card.
That's one day, though. But what about the hotel room?
That's what I'm asking.
Is he going to send you a check?
No.
Is he going to send you more of a refund?
That covered
the one day. No, that.
I think I need to have a little conversation with Ron. You guys want to talk to me about Don?
Ron.
That was Ron.
Oh, it's Ron.
I was right. You guys wanted to have a talk with me about expenses? We should get Ron on the phone right now and hash this out with him.
He sounded very nice is part of the problem.
He wasn't so nice in the text message. He was a little
gave
curt.
Us the $288 back for the night. We didn't stay there. We shouldn't have to pay for it.
Correct. So that goes back to
But you also need a place to stay.
But we can't get a place to stay for $288 at that point.
Correct.
He has left us in a lurch.
He made it sound like he was generously offering to pay for the hotel room.
So what I'm asking you, can I expense these hotel rooms?
No, Ron's going to have to pay us back. Well, why should
I have to eat it? Why should I have to eat? This is the problem.
Why should Odyssey have
Why should I? Because I was on Odyssey business.
Can Woods use our legal team of attorneys at Odyssey to
what
go after?
I knew I was going to get
We've got an army.
I knew.
Is he legally liable for that hotel?
No, but he risks a very, very poor rating on Airbnb. And
He's
what
not
kind of
going to
value
cover
is that?
it. He's not going to cover it. Ron's not going to cover.
He could be. This could be one of those things where he's trying to save a couple of pennies and it's going to hurt him in the future with a really negative rating. People aren't going to stay at his place.
Is there anyone who thinks that the three of us should have shared one room at the Hampton Inn?
Michael, that's it. He's the only
one.
That
would have been about the equivalent of the Airbnb room.
So
get a little cot for Paul.
Yeah, I don't know that really was going to fly with any of us. We're adults now, and I can't do roommates on the road.
God, no chance. So I can't submit these Hampton Inn receipts.
Submit them to Ron.
What if he says I'm not paying?
I'll have a conversation with Michael.
Is there a middle ground where Woods and I
pay for it?
Woods and I pay for some of it, and the company pays for some.
Stop!
Well, I don't want you to have to pay for all of it.
Scab.
I don't want you to have to pay for all of it. There was it could have been my card just as easily. You took the bull by the horns and went in.
If this was ever considered, we have another employee in Peoria with an Airbnb.
It was not considered.
Did you consider going to Sammy Lev's place?
No, because I'm not going to sleep on the couch.
For one
as a
night?
grown man. No, I have a show to do.
What about Tony Gwynn Jr.?
Oh my God.
We could have split up. One of us with Tony.
I should have just called Manny Machado and stayed at his Airbnb.
We've got a whole army there. You tell me No Joe wouldn't have put you up? You guys are like besties.
Hey,
Knocking
Joe, it's
on
Paul.
his door. Late at night.
And it was 9 o'clock, and
You
get ready
treated
to
Schilt
pitch
to dinner.
tomorrow.
You couldn't go stay with Schilt for one night.
I know you're not.
I got a
serious.
bone to pick with Mike Schilt. By
I
the
know.
way.
Two
not
beef
being
with
serious.
broccolis for $20.
I got a bone to pick with
California
Mike
roll
Schilt.
for $13.
Did he know before he ordered that we were paying for it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like I'll have the lobster. I mean,
He didn't get the
a
lobster.
sushi roll in addition to
He
the
got the
Chinese roll?
$13 California roll and the $20 beef with broccoli. He did spend more than the rest of us.
Here's what
but
I want.
We wanted him to feel comfortable.
Here's what I want to hear. Oh, I don't care.
Hot
about dinner.
tea, by the way.
Yeah, man, our throats were hurt.
We had some cough and throat issues.
I had a
It
refill
was-
on my
yeah.
Diet
So
Coke.
here's
They
what
didn't
I-
charge you for that, Paulie.
Here's what I want to hear.
got the
Stop!
receipt here.
You go
Stop!
brown rice
Shut up!
too?
Everyone, shut up! This is what I want to hear. You guys crushed it. I got it. I'll go chase the money. That's what I want to hear.
You guys crushed it. I'll go chase the money.
That's what so I
Thank
can
you.
expense it.
Of course you can.
Yes, you were messing with me.
You weren't messing with me?
Not at all. Are you serious? I can't expense it.
I said someone hit me up on Twitter and said you should approve the expense or whatever. And what did I reply? Because I know you like the post.
Yeah,
I always do.
he always does.
He always does.
But then he'll call me later.
Hey, guys.
You can't imitate yourself.
That's me doing Woods doing
Just
me.
say, hey, guys.
All right, good.
But there is something on the expense report.
that you didn't. For whose?
This is from Paul's expense report.
All right.
2404 from CVS.
I knew
he asked about that. He asked about that.
All it said on my expense report is general utilities.
I didn't know what to put. All
Well,
it
what
said
was it?
Waters and cough drops.
Essential equipment for radio hosts.
I would say absolutely.
Especially ones with coughs.
Can we address the elephant in the room? There is actually, I said I always approve. There's one thing. There's one thing I would not have approved if you guys went out
Water.
and spent. If you guys went out and bought a tent, I would not have approved.
Yeah, because you told us to bring it.
I told you to take the tent.
We knew you were right. You were right. We
I've
were
been
wrong.
waiting all week to say I told you so.
You were right. We were wrong. We suffered.
I suffered
and
so
said
much.
Adam
I
was
would've
so
made
right.
hell. I was like,
We should have brought the tent.
Pay
Adam
for
was
your
right.
hotel room. Pay for Mike Schilt's sushi. If you had gone and gotten a tent, I would not have paid for it.
You were right. You were absolutely right.
All right, good.
And we said that even not to your face. We both sitting out there on the third day at the Peoria Sports Con. We were just looking at each other. He goes,
he was right.
Adam was right.
He was right.
And
Should
we
have
were
gotten a
wrong.
floppy hat from Joe.
We
Come
should
on.
have. Preller
Paulie,
has like a dozen of them.
Your wife wants to know, what else did you buy at CVS? What does that mean? What does she think you bought?
I don't know.
Lube or something?
Your Sprite was $4 at PF Chang's.
Is that
now.
right?
Is that the going rate for sodas
to
now?
get sodas at a restaurant. Let me tell you.
Mike Schilt drank nothing but water. That's $0.0.
Somebody said this was like Dr. Phil. So you think the audience are a bunch of hoes? All right. So do you want Don?
Ron.
You want Ron's number?
For the love of God. It's Ron.
I'm gonna turn Adam loose on him, dude. The guy's not gonna know what hit him.
So the audience are a bunch of hoes.
He's not gonna know what hit him when Adam calls him. I'm extricating myself.
Hey, Ron.
Hey. Hey, Ron. Did you or did you not say?
And somebody asked in the chat, did he put it in a text message? He did not. It was on the phone. We were driving to the Hampton Inn,
verbal,
and we called him, or he called us, and he was on speakerphone, and he said, "Well, I'm gonna credit you guys for the night on the Airbnb, and then I want to pick up the bill for the hotel room."
He said room.
He said room. Singular, knowing that we were getting 3 rooms plural.
Just quick clarification, by the way. Stevie G's 5-Town Special and Frank's Foul Ball are menu items at the deli that we took Sammy to.
By the way, how was there no return trip to see Delilah and see if she remembers Ben?
Because that wouldn't have been
all
expense.
business, man.
It was a business trip.
That's what I was hoping for Ben to expect her to remember him.
We were all business.
We had
this
dinner
trip.
with Schilt. I had TV we were very busy, all working on the company dime the entire time.
We really did.
We wanted to justify all these expenses.
That's exactly
with good content, great interviews, and I think we delivered.
Michael, I'm sorry. We will. It was out of our control. Man.
File for bankruptcy again, James.
It was not our. It was out of our control.
Could have taken Sammy Love Jr. to meet Delilah.
That's true. That's true. Sammy's.
Thank you, Adam. You are a good boss.
You are a good man.
And we appreciate
I was
you.
very worried. I can't believe he was messing with me the whole time.
That was great.
Like, why
I
should
didn't
I
know
have
that.
One
I
of the
thought he
few
was
times
serious.
I've been able to get you.
I thought he was
like,
serious
oh,
this
no.
time.
I thought he was serious too. Off the air, he's gonna be like, yeah, by the way, don't.
I just wanted to look like the good guy.
You're the best. You're the best, truly.
All right,
I hope we delivered for you.
Annie and Elston are coming up next. We will be back Friday show tomorrow, wrapping up what has been a fantastic week for Adam Klug, for Paul Reindl, and Stephen Woods. I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your Thursday from all of us here at San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3.